Marilyn Monroe wasn't just a woman, she was a phenomenon. At 5'5", with her signature breathy voice, she managed to do what few could, turn every head in the room while pretending she didn't notice. Men adored her, not because she was perfect, but because she knew how to make imperfection look like an art form. Why did men love her? Let's just say it wasn't just the dress in The 7-Year Itch. There's a story behind the persona, one that made her unforgettable. Stick around. This is more than beauty. It's the playbook on how one woman reshaped desire. She was an eye candy. If you think about it, Monroe's beauty wasn't just something you noticed, it was something you felt. She had a way of drawing people in, making them stop and stare, not just because of how she looked, but because of the way she carried herself. Her body was a celebration of everything feminine, a perfect hourglass figure that became the gold standard of beauty in the 1950s. She wasn't thin, and she didn't try to be. Her curves, full hips, a tiny waist, and a figure that seemed designed to make jaws drop were unapologetic and confident. In an era when a woman's body was celebrated for its softness and sensuality, Marilyn stood out as the ultimate symbol of that ideal. Men adored her because she wasn't shy about her curves. She embraced them, flaunted them, and made them her power. Her platinum blonde hair was like a halo that framed her face, catching the light in a way that made her glow. That soft golden blonde wasn't just a color. It was part of her identity. It gave her a youthful, playful energy while still exuding old Hollywood glamour. Her waves were always perfectly styled, loose and feminine, adding to her approachable yet untouchable aura. She became the blonde bombshell, a title that felt almost custom-made for her because no one else carried it like she did. Her hair wasn't just part of her look, it was part of her charm, a defining element of what made her unforgettable. Then there was her smile. Marilyn didn't just smile with her mouth. She smiled with her entire face. Her expressions were layered with warmth and a hint of mischief, like she was sharing a secret only you were meant to know. She had the kind of smile that pulled people closer, making them feel special just by looking at her. But it was her eyes that truly sealed the deal. They were big, bright, and impossibly expressive, shifting effortlessly between innocence and seduction. There was a sparkle in her gaze, something playful and curious, like she was constantly on the edge of laughter or a clever remark. She had a way of looking at people that made them feel like they were the center of her world, even if it was just for a moment. Her skin was flawless, a porcelain canvas that seemed to glow on its own. She had a natural radiance that made her stand out, even in black and white films. Her complexion was smooth and luminous, the kind of beauty that didn't need much enhancement. And then there was her beauty mark, a small mole near her cheek that became one of her most iconic features. It wasn't just a detail, it was a statement. That tiny mark gave her face a unique character, setting her apart from the polished perfection of others. It was a reminder that her beauty wasn't cookie-cutter. It was something entirely her own. Everything about Marilyn flowed together effortlessly. Her curves, her hair, her smile, her eyes, her skin. She didn't just look like a dream. She felt like one, a vision of femininity that seemed both approachable and unattainable all at once. Men adored her because she wasn't just beautiful, she was magnetic, someone who radiated confidence, vulnerability, and charm all at the same time. Her beauty wasn't just skin deep, it was alive, electric, and unforgettable. Magnetic personality and charm. There was something about Monroe's personality and charisma that made her irresistible. She had this playful, flirty demeanor that made people feel drawn to her. Yet she didn't take herself too seriously, and that made her approachable, even as one of the most famous women in the world. She had a way of laughing, teasing, and engaging that felt genuine, almost like she was inviting you into her world. Men loved that about her. It made her feel real, even while she was larger than life. At the same time, Marilyn had this vulnerability about her, a softness that made people want to protect her. Beneath her glamour and confidence, there was an emotional depth that added complexity to her charm. She was open about her insecurities and struggles, and that humanity made her even more appealing. Men weren't just captivated by her beauty. They were drawn to the layers underneath. That combination of strength and fragility was rare, and Marilyn balanced it perfectly. What made her stand out even more was how she embraced her femininity. Marilyn wasn't afraid to be unapologetically herself. She leaned into her sensuality, her charm, and her playful side without holding back. She didn't try to compete with men or dim her light to fit in. Instead, she celebrated everything about being a woman, and that confidence was magnetic. It was as if she understood exactly what made her special, and she used it to her advantage, not in an overbearing way, but in a way that felt effortless and natural. Her charisma wasn't something you could learn or copy. It was innate. When Marilyn walked into a room, people noticed, not because she demanded attention, but because she just had it. It was in the way she moved, the way she spoke, and even the way she paused. She had this ability to make everyone around her feel important, like she was focused on you and no one else. That kind of connection is rare, and Marilyn had it in spades. Marilyn wasn't just a beautiful woman, she was an experience. Her personality was as much a part of her appeal as her looks. She had a way of making men feel seen, admired, and captivated all at once. It wasn't just her beauty that lingered in people's minds. It was the way she made them feel, a combination of warmth, playfulness, and mystery that no one else could replicate. Her hypnotic voice. Marilyn Monroe's voice was as much a part of her allure as her looks. It wasn't just soft, it was hypnotic, like a warm breeze that carried a hint of mystery. Her breathy, delicate tone became her trademark, setting her apart in a world where many women had louder or more polished vocal styles. There was something about the way she spoke that felt intimate, almost as if every word she said was meant just for you. It wasn't just a voice, it was an invitation, drawing people closer and keeping them hooked on every syllable. Her voice had a rhythm to it, a way of lingering on words that made them feel significant. She could turn something as simple as "Happy Birthday" into an unforgettable performance, with charm and a subtle seduction that felt completely natural. It wasn't forced or over the top. It was effortless, like she didn't even realize the effect it had on people. Men loved the way she sounded because it was so uniquely her. It was playful and inviting, yet it carried an undercurrent of vulnerability that made her even more endearing. And it wasn't just her speaking voice. Marilyn's singing added another dimension to her appeal. Whether it was the cheeky charm of "Diamonds are a girl's best friend,"
but diamonds are a girl's best friend,
or the soulful sweetness of "I Want to Be Loved by You."
I wanna be loved by you alone. Boop, boop-be-doo.
Her performances were magnetic. She didn't have the most powerful voice in the world, but she didn't need it. The way she sang felt personal, like she was sharing a secret with her audience. Her voice wasn't just about hitting the right notes, it was about creating a feeling, a connection that stayed with you long after the song ended. There was also an honesty in her voice that couldn't be ignored. It wasn't polished to perfection, there were little cracks and whispers that made it feel human, real. That rawness only added to her charm, making her voice feel like an extension of her personality, playful, seductive, and heartbreakingly genuine all at once. Her voice became one of her most powerful tools, not just in her career, but in the way she captivated people. It wasn't just something you heard, it was something you felt. Marilyn Monroe didn't just speak or sing, she created moments, ones that lingered in the mind long after the sound faded. For men, her voice was like everything else about her, impossible to forget. She was intelligent and calculating. She was incredibly smart, and she used that intelligence to carefully craft her image and build a career that would make her unforgettable. Every move she made was intentional, every decision calculated to maximize her appeal and ensure she stayed at the center of attention. She wasn't just the girl who got lucky in Hollywood, she was a woman who understood the game and played it better than almost anyone. Marilyn knew exactly how to present herself to the world. She leaned into the blonde bombshell persona, but it wasn't because she believed that was all she could be. It was because she understood how much power that image held. She recognized what people wanted from her and gave it to them, amplifying her allure while keeping just enough mystery to keep them hooked. Her breathy voice, her playful laugh, her signature walk, none of it was accidental. Marilyn meticulously shaped every aspect of her public persona, creating a brand long before celebrities thought in those terms. She was also incredibly strategic about who she associated with. Marilyn didn't surround herself with just anyone. She aligned herself with people who could elevate her status and further her career. From her marriages to high-profile figures like baseball legend Joe DiMaggio and playwright Arthur Miller, to her rumored connections with powerful men in politics, Marilyn understood the importance of building relationships that kept her in the spotlight. She wasn't using people in a shallow way. She was navigating a world that often underestimated women by leveraging her charm and connections to create opportunities for herself. But it wasn't just about who she knew. It was also about how she worked. Marilyn was deeply committed to her craft and took acting seriously, despite the way people often dismissed her as just a pretty face. She studied at the prestigious Actors Studio in New York, working with Lee Strasberg to refine her skills and prove she was more than just a pinup girl. She read voraciously, explored literature and philosophy, and engaged in deep conversations with some of the greatest minds of her time. She was always striving to grow, to learn, and to be taken seriously as both an actress and an individual. Her intelligence also showed in how she handled her career. Marilyn knew the value of her image and wasn't afraid to fight for what she deserved. She pushed back against the studios when she felt they were typecasting her, even founding her own production company, something almost unheard of for a woman in the 1950s. She took control of her career at a time when most actresses were at the mercy of studio executives, proving that she wasn't just a passive participant in her success. She was the architect of it. Marilyn's brilliance lay in her ability to balance everything: her beauty, her talent, her relationships, and her image, all while maintaining an air of effortlessness. She made it look easy, but behind the scenes, she was always thinking, always planning, always working to ensure she remained the center of attention. Her intelligence was one of her most underrated traits, but it was also one of the biggest reasons she became the icon we still admire today. She was funny. Monroe's sense of humor was another aspect of her charm that men found irresistible. She had a natural wit and a playful, self-deprecating style that made her incredibly endearing. Despite being one of the most famous and desired women in the world, she never seemed to take herself too seriously, and that made her all the more relatable. She had this light-hearted, almost childlike joy about her that was infectious. When she laughed, it wasn't just a sound. It was a feeling that filled the room and drew people closer to her. She had a knack for using humor to disarm people, putting them at ease even in the most high-pressure situations. Whether it was during an interview on a film set or at a glamorous Hollywood party, Marilyn knew how to make people laugh. She could poke fun at herself, acknowledging the dumb blonde stereotype she often played in movies, but always with a glint in her eye that suggested she was in on the joke. It was as if she was saying, "I know what you think of me, but let's have a little fun with it." Her comedic timing was impeccable, both on and off the screen. In movies like Some Like It Hot and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, Marilyn showcased her ability to deliver lines with perfect precision, making even the most absurd situations feel genuine and hilarious. She had this rare ability to combine sex appeal with humor, a combination that was as surprising as it was captivating. Men couldn't help but be charmed by the way she could be both incredibly glamorous and genuinely funny at the same time. But Marilyn's humor wasn't just about the jokes, it was about the way she made people feel. Her playful teasing and infectious laugh had a way of breaking down walls, making everyone around her feel more comfortable and at ease. She had this uncanny ability to create an atmosphere of warmth and joy, even in the midst of her own challenges. That lightness, that ability to find and share moments of joy, was a big part of why men adored her. Her humor was also a form of resilience. Marilyn used laughter as a way to cope with the pressures of fame and the difficulties she faced in her personal life. It showed a strength and a depth to her character that made her even more intriguing. Men didn't just love her for her beauty, they loved her for her ability to make them laugh, to make them feel good, and to remind them that life, even at its most complicated, could still be fun. She had dual personalities. Marilyn Monroe had a vulnerability about her that was as captivating as her beauty or charm. There was something in the way she carried herself, a subtle, almost unspoken softness that drew people in and made them want to protect her. She had this unique ability to project a mixture of confidence and fragility that made her seem both larger than life and deeply human at the same time. Men adored her not just because she was stunning or talented, but because she seemed so real, like she wore her heart on her sleeve for the world to see. This vulnerability was especially evident in her interviews and public appearances. Marilyn often spoke openly about her insecurities and struggles, which wasn't common for someone in her position. She admitted to feeling nervous before performances, to battling self-doubt, and to craving genuine love and acceptance. In a world where Hollywood stars were often portrayed as perfect and untouchable, Marilyn's honesty stood out. She let people see her flaws, and that made her relatable. Men weren't just attracted to her, they felt connected to her as though they understood her on a deeper level. Her vulnerability wasn't a weakness, it was part of what made her so strong. Marilyn had been through a lot in her life, from a difficult childhood in foster care to the pressures of fame, and yet she kept moving forward. She was open about her pain, but she never let it define her. Instead, it became part of her story, something that added depth to her personality and made her even more compelling. Men admired her for that mix of strength and fragility, for the way she could endure so much and still remain so open-hearted. This raw, emotional side of Marilyn was also evident in her acting. Her performances often had an authenticity that made her characters feel real. She wasn't afraid to be vulnerable on screen, to let her emotions come through in a way that felt genuine. Whether she was playing a comedic role or a more dramatic one, Marilyn had a way of making her characters relatable and human. Men didn't just see a beautiful actress. They saw someone who felt deeply, who experienced life with all its highs and lows. Marilyn's vulnerability was what made her unforgettable. It was the thing that turned her from just another Hollywood starlet into an icon. She wasn't perfect, and she didn't pretend to be. She was real, and that authenticity made people love her even more. Men didn't just want to admire her. They wanted to comfort her, to care for her, to be the one to fill the spaces where she felt incomplete. That vulnerability wasn't something she had to fake or create. It was simply who she was, and it made her one of the most adored women in history. She was a fashion icon. Her style was effortlessly glamorous, the kind of look that seemed to combine classic elegance with a playful, modern twist. She understood how to dress in a way that highlighted her best features, making her the ultimate embodiment of femininity. But what made her fashion sense truly iconic wasn't just the clothes she wore, it was the way she wore them. Marilyn's wardrobe was filled with timeless pieces that became symbols of her allure. Her most memorable looks included the curve-hugging gowns that showcased her famous hourglass figure. One of the most iconic was the white halter-neck dress she wore in The 7-Year Itch, which became legendary the moment she stood over a subway grate and let the wind blow the dress up.
Subway? Isn't it delicious?
The look was sensual but playful, confident but not overly exposed. It wasn't just the dress, it was how she owned it. Every piece of clothing she wore, from evening gowns to casual wear, looked as though it was custom-made to fit her perfectly, highlighting her natural beauty without drawing attention away from it. Her red carpet moments were always memorable, whether she was dazzling in a shimmering, sequined gown or turning heads in a more understated black dress. She knew how to command attention with a single glance or pose, and the clothes she wore only enhanced that power. What made Marilyn's fashion choices so special was that they weren't just about the clothes, they were about how she made the clothes come alive. She wore each outfit with confidence, with a sense of effortless cool that made everything look more chic, more stylish, and more glamorous. Marilyn also understood the power of accessories. She was known for wearing statement jewelry, from oversized earrings to dazzling necklaces, which added an extra layer of glamour to her outfits. But she wasn't just about the big, flashy pieces. She could wear simple, delicate pearls or a small, understated brooch and still look every bit as chic as when she wore a diamond necklace. Her choice of accessories always felt just right, never overdone, always enhancing her look rather than overwhelming it. Her fashion sense was also very much in tune with the times, yet timeless. As a woman in the 1950s, she embodied the era's ideals of beauty and femininity, but she did so with a modern flair that set her apart from other women of the time. She wasn't afraid to take risks with her fashion, whether it was sporting a dramatic fur coat or experimenting with new trends that would later become iconic in their own right. But perhaps what made Marilyn a true fashion icon was how she transcended trends. It wasn't about following what was fashionable, it was about creating a signature look that was all her own. Marilyn had an innate understanding of what worked for her body, her persona, and her public image. She became the epitome of classic Hollywood glamour, a look that continues to inspire designers and celebrities to this day. In a way, Marilyn's fashion was an extension of her entire persona, flirty, glamorous, and full of life. She used clothes to express herself, not to hide behind them, and that's what made her stand out. She didn't just wear beautiful clothes, she made the clothes work for her, elevating them to a whole new level of chic and cementing her place as one of the greatest style icons of all time. Hollywood is by far one of the most entertaining industries in the whole world, but make no mistake, behind the curtain of who stars in which film, there are puppeteers, powerful individuals who decide what happens and what doesn't. For the most part, a lot of them remained secret, hiding in the shadows while they wielded their power. As a result, some of them have been reduced to rumor, because no one knows for sure if they ever existed at all, and that's exactly how these secret societies liked it. The Studio Heads Club. In the golden age of Hollywood, spanning from the 1920s to the 1950s, a powerful and unofficial group wielded unparalleled influence over the film industry. Known as the Studio Heads Club, this cohort consisted of the heads of major studios like MGM, Warner Brothers, Paramount, and 20th Century Fox. Their decisions shaped the careers of countless actors and determined the direction of American cinema. At the helm of this influential group was Louis B. Mayer of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. Mayer, who co-founded MGM in 1924, was a formidable figure in Hollywood. Under his leadership, MGM became the most successful studio of the era. Mayer had a remarkable talent for identifying and nurturing stars. He played a pivotal role in the careers of legends like Judy Garland and Clark Gable, ensuring their rise to fame. Mayer's influence was so profound that he was often regarded as the King of Hollywood, a title that reflected his dominance over the industry. Another key member of this elite circle was Jack L. Warner of Warner Brothers. One of the four Warner brothers who founded the studio in 1923, Jack Warner was instrumental in shaping the film industry's landscape. He was a visionary who saw the potential of sound in cinema, leading to the release of The Jazz Singer in 1927, the first feature-length film with synchronized dialogue. This innovation marked the beginning of the sound era in Hollywood and solidified Warner Brothers as a major player in the industry. Warner was also known for his role in popularizing the gangster film genre, with classics like Little Caesar, 1931, and The Public Enemy, 1931, coming from his studio. Adolph Zukor, the founder of Paramount Pictures, was another prominent member of the Studio Heads Club. Zukor, who established Paramount in 1912, was a pioneer in the film industry. He was one of the first to recognize the potential of feature-length films, at a time when most movies were short reels. The influence of the Studio Heads Club extended beyond their individual studios. Collectively, they controlled the talent, the distribution, and the production of films, effectively creating an oligopoly. They decided who got contracts, which scripts were developed, and how films were marketed and distributed. This level of control allowed them to make or break careers and to steer the direction of Hollywood according to their vision and interests. One notable example of their power was the case of Howard Hughes. Hughes, an eccentric billionaire and filmmaker, clashed with the studio heads on several occasions. Despite his wealth and influence, Hughes found it difficult to navigate Hollywood without the backing of the major studios. His 1943 film, The Outlaw, starring Jane Russell, faced significant censorship and distribution challenges due to opposition from the established studio heads, demonstrating their ability to suppress competition and control the market. The Hollywood 10. A group of screenwriters and directors, the Hollywood 10 are most famously remembered for their defiance and subsequent blacklisting during the McCarthy era. However, before their fall from grace, they were part of a larger network of influential writers, directors, and actors who significantly shaped the film industry. The Hollywood 10 consisted of Alva Bessie, Herbert Biberman, Lester Cole, Edward Dmytryk, Ring Lardner Jr., John Howard Lawson, Albert Maltz, Samuel Ornitz, Adrian Scott, and Dalton Trumbo. These men were highly respected in Hollywood for their talent and creativity. They contributed to some of the most memorable films of the era and were known for their strong political beliefs, often incorporating social and political themes into their work. Dalton Trumbo, perhaps the most famous member of the Hollywood 10, was an incredibly prolific and successful screenwriter. His work on films like Kitty Foyle, 1940, and 30 Seconds Over Tokyo, 1944, earned him widespread acclaim. Trumbo's ability to craft compelling narratives made him one of the highest-paid screenwriters in Hollywood. However, his outspoken political views and membership in the Communist Party made him a target during the Red Scare. Edward Dmytryk, a director known for his work in film noir, made significant contributions to the genre with films like Murder, My Sweet, 1944, and Crossfire, 1947. Dmytryk's films often explored themes of social justice and were praised for their innovative storytelling techniques. His association with the Hollywood 10 and his subsequent imprisonment marked a turning point in his career. In October 1947, the House Un-American Activities Committee, HUAC, began investigating the Hollywood film industry for alleged communist influences. The Hollywood 10 were subpoenaed to testify before the committee. Instead of cooperating, they boldly refused to answer questions about their political affiliations, citing their First Amendment rights. This defiance led to their contempt of Congress charges, resulting in fines and prison sentences ranging from 6 months to a year. The impact of the HUAC hearings and the subsequent blacklist was devastating. The Hollywood 10 were barred from working in the industry, and many of their colleagues and friends were similarly blacklisted. The careers of some of Hollywood's most talented individuals were effectively destroyed, and the industry itself was plunged into a period of fear and censorship. Despite their blacklisting, many of the Hollywood 10 continued to work under pseudonyms or through intermediaries. Dalton Trumbo, for instance, won 2 Academy Awards for screenwriting under different names during his time on the blacklist. His ability to continue producing high-quality work in secret was a testament to his resilience and talent. The Friars Club. Founded in 1904, the Friars Club was an exclusive private club for entertainers that quickly became a significant power center in the entertainment industry. Known for its lavish dinners, roasts, and private events, the Friars Club was more than just a social hub. It was a place where influential figures in Hollywood gathered to forge alliances, make deals, and shape the careers of rising stars. Membership in the Friars Club was a coveted status symbol, signaling an entertainer's acceptance into the upper echelons of the industry. The club's motto, "We only roast the ones we love," reflected its blend of camaraderie and sharp-witted humor. However, beneath the laughter and conviviality, the Friars Club was a nexus of behind-the-scenes power plays. Groucho Marx, one of the most famous comedians of all time, was a prominent member of the Friars Club. Known for his quick wit and sharp tongue, Marx's influence extended far beyond his performances. As a member of the Friars Club, he was part of a network that included studio executives, producers, and other top-tier entertainers. The connections he forged there helped him navigate and influence the entertainment industry. Milton Berle, often referred to as Mr. Television, was another influential friar. Burley's career in television was groundbreaking, and his association with the Friars Club provided him with opportunities to connect with other influential figures in the industry. Burle's networking within the club helped him secure pivotal roles and endorsements that cemented his place in television history. Frank Sinatra, a legendary singer and actor, was also a key figure at the Friars Club. Sinatra's career benefited significantly from the alliances and friendships he cultivated within the club. His close relationships with powerful individuals in the entertainment world often translated into lucrative film and music contracts. Sinatra's presence at the club's events also added to his mystique and status as an entertainment icon. The private events and dinners at the Friars Club were often the setting for significant behind-the-scenes deals. It was here that studio executives, producers, and agents would meet to discuss potential projects, negotiate contracts, and strategize about the future of the industry. These gatherings were informal yet crucial, as many major decisions were made over cocktails and cigars. One notable example of the Friars Club's influence was the partnership between Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin. Their legendary comedy duo, which became one of the most successful acts in show business history, was partly facilitated by their interactions within the Friars Club. The club provided a supportive environment where their talents were recognized and nurtured, leading to a highly successful career in both film and television. In addition to career-making deals, the Friars Club was also a place where reputations could be protected or rehabilitated. Members supported each other through scandals and controversies, offering a network of solidarity that could help mitigate the damage to an entertainer's career. This sense of loyalty and mutual aid was a cornerstone of the club's ethos. The Friars Club's legacy is one of immense influence and power within the entertainment industry. It was a place where friendships were forged, careers were made, and the future of Hollywood was often decided in informal, smoke-filled rooms. The White Lotus Society. The origins of the White Lotus Society are shrouded in mystery. Some believe it emerged in the 1930s as Hollywood's golden age was taking shape, while others speculate it had roots dating back to earlier periods when the film industry was just beginning to assert its cultural dominance. The society allegedly took its name from the white lotus flower, a symbol of purity and hidden power in various cultures. Membership in the White Lotus Society was said to be highly selective, drawing from the most powerful and influential ranks of studio executives, directors, producers, and even some high-profile actors. These individuals were united not just by their status, but by a shared vision for the direction of the film industry and a desire to maintain control over its trajectory. The Society's purported influence over casting decisions was particularly notable. Actors who found favor with the White Lotus Society could expect a significant boost to their careers, landing coveted roles in major productions. Conversely, those who fell out of favor could find themselves inexplicably sidelined, regardless of their talent or popularity. This power to make or break careers was a testament to society's reach within the industry. For example, Greta Garbo, one of Hollywood's most enigmatic stars, was rumored to have benefited from the society's favor. Her meteoric rise and sustained success, despite her reclusive nature and selective filmography, fueled speculation about powerful backers behind her career. Similarly, Orson Welles, whose groundbreaking work on Citizen Kane 1941 initially faced resistance, was believed to have gained crucial support from within this shadowy network, allowing him to complete his masterpiece. The White Lotus Society's influence extended beyond casting to production decisions as well. The Society was rumored to have a hand in determining which scripts were greenlit, how films were marketed, and even how they were edited. Their agenda-driven approach often prioritized projects that aligned with their vision or served their interests, sometimes at the expense of more innovative or diverse storytelling. The agendas purportedly pursued by the White Lotus Society were varied and often controversial. Some members were believed to be motivated by financial interests, ensuring that films produced under their influence would be commercial successes. Others were said to push for films that reflected specific ideological or political views, using the medium of cinema to subtly or overtly shape public opinion. One of the most persistent rumors involved the Society's role in enforcing the infamous Hollywood blacklist during the late 1940s and 1950s. Allegedly, the White Lotus Society was instrumental in identifying and ostracizing individuals with suspected communist ties, thereby shaping the industry's political landscape in alignment with their own anti-communist stance. This period saw the careers of many talented writers, directors, and actors ruined by accusations and blacklisting, underscoring the society's darker side. The White Lotus Society also faced accusations of stifling artistic innovation. By prioritizing projects that aligned with their own interests, they allegedly hindered the development of more experimental or avant-garde films. This control over creative output was seen by some as a way to maintain the status quo and prevent challenges to their dominance within the industry. While definitive proof of the White Lotus Society's existence remains elusive, the stories and speculation surrounding it reflect broader concerns about power and influence in Hollywood. The notion of a covert group wielding such significant control resonates with the industry's history of behind-the-scenes machinations and the sometimes opaque nature of decision-making in the film business. The Blacklist Enforcers. During the tense and turbulent years of the Red Scare in the late 1940s and 1950s, Hollywood was gripped by fear and paranoia. At the heart of this era was a shadowy group known as the Blacklist Enforcers. This covert collective wielded immense power, determining which actors, writers, and directors were branded as communist sympathizers and subsequently banned from working in the industry. Their decisions had profound and often devastating impacts on the careers and lives of many talented individuals. The Blacklist Enforcers emerged as a response to the growing fear of communist influence in America, particularly within its influential cultural institutions. The House Un-American Activities Committee, HUAC, established in 1938, intensified its focus on Hollywood after World War II, driven by the belief that communist propaganda was being subtly inserted into American films. In 1947, HUAC began a series of hearings to investigate communist infiltration in the film industry. This period saw the rise of the Blacklist Enforcers, a group composed of studio executives, producers, and other influential figures in Hollywood. Their mission was to root out and blacklist those they deemed to be communist sympathizers, thereby aligning with the broader anti-communist agenda of the era. Howard Hughes, a powerful mogul and head of RKO Pictures, was one of the prominent figures believed to be involved with the Blacklist Enforcers. Hughes was an ardent anti-communist and used his considerable influence to support the blacklisting efforts. His actions were motivated by both genuine political convictions and a desire to consolidate his control over the industry. Walt Disney also played a significant role in the anti-communist movement in Hollywood. As a member of the Motion Picture Alliance for the Preservation of American Ideals, Disney testified before HUAC and provided names of individuals he suspected of having communist ties. His testimony and subsequent actions contributed to the enforcement of the blacklist within the industry. The Blacklist Enforcers operated through a combination of public testimony, private meetings, and clandestine agreements. They collaborated closely with HUAC, providing names and evidence, often based on tenuous or circumstantial claims, to support the committee's investigations. Once an individual was named, the Blacklist Enforcers ensured that they were barred from employment within the industry. This was achieved through informal agreements among studio heads, who complied to avoid being targeted themselves. The impact of the Blacklist Enforcers was profound and far-reaching. Talented screenwriters, directors, and actors found their careers abruptly halted. Notable victims included members of the Hollywood Ten, such as Dalton Trumbo and Ring Lardner Jr., who were imprisoned for contempt of Congress and blacklisted. Their ability to work openly in Hollywood was destroyed, forcing many to write under pseudonyms or leave the industry altogether. Charlie Chaplin, another high-profile target, faced significant scrutiny from the Blacklist Enforcers. Despite his immense contributions to cinema, Chaplin's political views and outspoken criticism of American policies led to his exile from the United States. His departure marked a significant loss for Hollywood and underscored the destructive power of the blacklist. The Blacklist Enforcers did not solely focus on those with overt political affiliations. Jeanne Muir, a respected actress, was blacklisted simply for her past association with organizations later deemed subversive. Her career never fully recovered, demonstrating the indiscriminate and often unjust nature of the blacklist. The climate of fear fostered by the blacklist enforcers stifled creativity and innovation in Hollywood. Writers and directors avoided controversial or politically charged topics, leading to a period of censorship and self-censorship. The enforcement of the blacklist created an atmosphere of conformity, where deviation from accepted norms could result in professional and personal ruin. The Masons and Shriners. Freemasonry and its offshoot, the Shriners, are fraternal organizations with roots extending back centuries. Known for their secretive meetings, elaborate rituals, and extensive networks, these groups had members across all sectors of society, including Hollywood. Their influence in the entertainment industry, while often subtle, was nonetheless significant. Freemasonry, established in the early 18th century, is one of the oldest and most well-known fraternal organizations in the world. By the time Hollywood was rising to prominence in the early 20th century, Freemasons were already entrenched in many aspects of American life. Their principles of mutual support, philanthropy, and secrecy appealed to many in the entertainment industry, where networking and influence were crucial. Notable Hollywood figures such as John Wayne and Cecil B. DeMille were reputed to be Freemasons. Their membership in this exclusive brotherhood provided them with a network of influential contacts and a shared sense of loyalty and trust. For Wayne, being part of the Masons meant access to powerful friends and collaborators who could support his career and film projects. The Shriners, officially known as the ancient Arabic order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine, was founded in 1872 as an appendant body to Freemasonry. Known for their charitable work, particularly in running children's hospitals, the Shriners also maintained the same principles of brotherhood and networking as the Masons. Hollywood members of the Shriners, such as Harold Lloyd, leveraged their association with the group to expand their influence. The Shriners' reputation for philanthropy and public service provided a positive public image, which benefited its members both personally and professionally. This charitable facade often masked the behind-the-scenes networking that helped members secure favorable positions and opportunities in Hollywood. The secretive nature of Freemasonry and the Shriners meant that much of their influence in Hollywood was wielded behind closed doors. Members could rely on their fraternal connections to gain introductions to key industry players, secure financing for projects, and even influence casting and hiring decisions. This network of mutual support ensured that Freemasons and Shriners often had an inside track in the highly competitive entertainment industry. For instance, the strong fraternal bonds among members meant that a struggling actor or filmmaker could count on the support of his brethren to get a foot in the door. This could come in the form of personal recommendations, introductions to influential producers or directors, or even direct financial assistance. The shared values and trust within these organizations provided a level of security and backing that was invaluable in Hollywood. When you hear the name Frances Farmer, what comes to mind? Maybe her impeccable talent, or maybe her beauty and grace? Well, there's more to this legendary actress than most know about. From the fact that she single-handedly took on the entire system in Hollywood, to the harsh allegations and stumbles that her life and career threw at her, many occurrences would have been best kept secret, but they all make the eventful, sad, tragic, and intriguing life of Frances Farmer. So let's start from the top. The onset of stardom. Frances Elena Farmer was born on September 19, 1913 in Seattle, Washington. Her mother, Cora Lillian Van Ornum, was a boarding house operator and dietitian, while her father, Ernest Melvin Farmer, was a lawyer. Her father came from Spring Valley, Minnesota, and her mother was from Oregon, with roots tracing back to pioneers. Frances had an older sister named Edith, an older brother named Wesley, and an older half-sister named Rita from her mother's first marriage. Tragically, before Wesley and Edith were born, her mother lost another daughter to pneumonia during infancy. When Frances was just 4 years old, her parents separated, and her mother moved the children to Los Angeles to be closer to her sister, Zella. In early 1925, the family relocated to Chico, California, where Lillian pursued a career in nutrition research. However, the demands of caring for her children soon overwhelmed her, and she decided it was best for them to return to their father in Seattle. Their Aunt Zella drove them to Albany, Oregon, where they boarded a train back north. This turbulent period had a profound effect on Frances. She later recalled that the trip marked the end of her dependent childhood, forcing her to grapple with the unpredictable nature of adults and her shifting home life. Lillian eventually returned to Seattle after her home in Chico burned down, but she and Ernest remained separated. The family shared a household, though the parents did not reconcile. In the fall of 1929, when Frances was 16, Lillian and Ernest finalized their divorce, and Lillian moved to Bremerton, Washington, leaving the children with their father. Frances attended West Seattle High School, where she distinguished herself not only as a student, but as a writer. In 1931, as a senior, she entered a writing contest sponsored by Scholastic magazine and won $100 for her essay titled "God Dies." This essay, influenced by her readings of Friedrich Nietzsche, was a bold exploration of her spiritual doubts and agnosticism, controversial for its time and reflective of her intellectual curiosity and independent thinking. After high school, Frances enrolled at the University of Washington, initially majoring in journalism. She worked various jobs to support herself, including stints as an usherette, waitress, tutor, soap factory laborer, and singing waitress at Mount Rainier National Park. During her sophomore year, she became involved in the university's drama department, starring in numerous plays such as Helen of Troy, Everyman, and Uncle Vanya. Her performance in the 1934 production of Alien Corn earned her favorable reviews, signaling her potential as a serious actress. In her final year of college in 1935, Frances won a contest for the leftist newspaper The Voice of Action, which awarded her a trip to the Soviet Union. Despite her mother's objections, Frances accepted the prize, motivated by her desire to see the pioneering work of the Moscow Art Theater. This trip fueled speculation about her political beliefs, with some suggesting she was a communist. The same year, she graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in drama, setting the stage for her entry into Hollywood. An illustrious career begins. In the summer of 1935, after returning from the Soviet Union, Frances Farmer made a stop in New York City with the aim of beginning a theater career. During her stay, she met talent agent Shepard Traub, who saw her potential and connected her with Oscar Serlin, a talent scout from Paramount Pictures. Serlin arranged a screen test for Farmer, which led to an incredible opportunity. Paramount offered her a 7-year contract, which she signed in New York City on her 22nd birthday. Following her screen tests on Long Island, Farmer moved to Los Angeles to commence her work with Paramount. Upon her arrival, she underwent dental surgery to correct a gap in her front teeth, a common procedure for aspiring stars to meet Hollywood's beauty standards. She spent countless hours on the Paramount studio lot, engaged in screen testing and extensive training. By November 1935, she had secured her first role in the B-movie Too Many Parents, 1936, a comedy about young men in military school. The film was a box office success, marking a promising start to her Hollywood career. Shortly after completing the film in February 1936, Farmer married Leif Erikson, a fellow Paramount contract player she had met on the studio lot. With her marriage, she continued to build her career, landing a lead role in the drama Border Flight. Later that same year, Farmer achieved a significant milestone by being cast in her first A feature, Rhythm on the Range, a Western starring Bing Crosby. She later reminisced about the film, revealing that she had a crush on Crosby since high school and felt awestruck to work alongside him as his leading lady in her first major film. The film garnered favorable reviews and significantly boosted Farmer's public reputation. After its release, Paramount studio head Adolf Zukor called her and advised her to start acting like a rising star. However, Farmer resisted the Hollywood lifestyle, preferring to spend time at her home in Laurel Canyon with Erikson and declining invitations to Hollywood parties and events. In an attempt to market her, Paramount branded her in press releases as the star who would not go Hollywood, emphasizing her eccentric fashion choices. During the summer of 1936, Farmer was lent to Samuel Goldwyn to appear in Come and Get It, based on Edna Ferber's novel. In the film, she portrayed a young woman pursued by her mother's former lover. Initially directed by Howard Hawks, the film saw a directorial change when William Wyler replaced Hawks midway through production. Farmer, unsure about the change, clashed with Wyler during filming. Wyler later commented that the nicest thing he could say about her was that she was unbearable. Despite their tumultuous working relationship, Hawks admired Farmer's talent, stating she had more talent than anyone he had ever worked with. The film's premiere took place in Seattle, Farmer's hometown, where she maintained a quiet and reserved demeanor, leading to news reports labeling her as cold and aloof. Nonetheless, Come and Get It received praise from both the public and critics, with many reviews hailing Farmer as a newfound star, even comparing her to Greta Garbo. In 1937, Farmer was lent to RKO to star opposite Cary Grant in The Toast of New York, a film about a Wall Street tycoon. The production was fraught with difficulties as Farmer was unhappy with the rebranding of her character from a hard-edged vixen to an ingenue fresh from Sunnybrook. On set, she argued with director Roland V. Lee and gave dismissive interviews to the press. Dissatisfied with the direction her career was taking after The Toast of New York, Farmer resisted the studio's attempts to control her and their efforts to glamorize her private life. A 1937 article in Collier's magazine sympathetically described her as indifferent to her clothing and noted that she drove an older model green roadster. Also in 1937, she appeared in the crime drama exclusive opposite Fred McMurray and the Technicolor adventure film Ebb Tide opposite Ray Milland. However, as she rose to fame and became all she ever wanted in Hollywood, Frances Farmer was seen as a tool by studio executives, and they attempted to control her. Thankfully, she had a strong will and a bold personality. Exposure to the dark side of Hollywood. Hollywood around the 1930s was not a pretty sight, especially behind the scenes. Studio executives wielded immense power, often treating actors as mere commodities. These executives, the unseen puppeteers, orchestrated every move of the stars they created, ensuring that every smile, every line, and every appearance was meticulously controlled to maximize profit. They thrived on the submission and conformity of their stars, but Frances Farmer was not one to conform. From the moment she set foot in Hollywood, Farmer's fiery spirit and determination to retain her individuality were evident. While most newcomers would eagerly submit to the studio's demands, Frances displayed an unusual defiance. Paramount Pictures, one of the most influential studios, quickly realized they had a different kind of star on their hands. Despite their attempts to mold her into the perfect Hollywood actress, Frances resisted fiercely. Farmer's outspoken nature made her a thorn in the side of studio executives. She challenged the oppressive norms of the industry, openly criticizing the lack of creative freedom and the manipulative practices of the studio heads. She refused to attend glamorous parties, shunned the superficial lifestyle, and publicly derided the industry's pretentiousness. This rebellious attitude was both a strength and a vulnerability. One significant clash occurred during the filming of Come and Get It. Initially directed by Howard Hawks, the production saw a midway directorial switch to William Wyler, a move that angered Frances. Her defiance was palpable, resulting in heated exchanges with Wyler, who later remarked that the nicest thing he could say about her was that she was unbearable. Yet Hawks, who had seen her talent firsthand, maintained that she possessed more talent than anyone he had ever worked with. Frances's tumultuous relationship with directors was a reflection of her broader resistance to the control exerted by studio executives. The consequences of Frances's rebellious behavior were swift and severe. Paramount, frustrated by her nonconformity, sought to rein her in by branding her as the star who would not go Hollywood, capitalizing on her eccentricity while subtly attempting to isolate her. Despite her successful performances in films like Rhythm on the Range and Come and Get It, her defiance meant that studio heads viewed her as a liability. The industry's response to her rebellion was not to support or understand, but to control and punish. Farmer was lent to other studios, often relegated to roles that did not match her talent or ambitions. Her dissatisfaction with her career direction became apparent during the production of The Toast of New York, where she clashed with director Roland V. Lee and expressed her disdain for the industry in interviews. The secret she tried to hide. Frances Farmer's personal life was as tumultuous as her career. The vivacious actress, often caught in the public eye, struggled to balance her professional and private worlds. Her marriage to fellow Paramount contract player Leif Erikson in 1936 was a notable chapter in her life. However, the pressures of Hollywood and their careers took a toll on their relationship, which was further strained by Farmer's growing discontent with the industry. Despite the glamorous image projected by the studio, Farmer's personal life was far from perfect. She often found solace in her home in Laurel Canyon, preferring the quiet of her private sanctuary to the glitzy Hollywood parties. This retreat into her personal space, however, did not shield her from the relentless scrutiny and control exerted by the studio executives. Beneath the surface of her rebellious exterior, Frances Farmer grappled with significant mental health issues. The pressures of stardom, combined with her intrinsic defiance of the Hollywood system, led to severe emotional turmoil. In an era when mental health was poorly understood and often stigmatized, Farmer's struggles were compounded by a lack of proper support and treatment. Substance abuse became a tragic coping mechanism for Farmer. The cocktail of alcohol and prescribed medications she relied on further clouded her judgment and exacerbated her mental health issues. This spiral of addiction and untreated mental illness led to increasingly erratic behavior, which the studios were ill-equipped to manage with anything other than punitive measures. The culmination of Farmer's struggles came in 1942 when she was infamously arrested for driving with her headlights on high beam, a minor infraction that escalated dramatically. Her arrest quickly devolved into a scandal amplified by her defiance and the subsequent sensationalist media coverage. During the arrest, Farmer's outburst and resistance to the police were widely publicized, painting her as a volatile and unhinged star. The aftermath of the arrest was even more damning. The court deemed her behavior as evidence of severe mental instability, leading to a series of incarcerations in psychiatric institutions. These institutions, far from providing the help she needed, subjected her to brutal treatments, including electroconvulsive therapy and lobotomy, practices that were more punitive than therapeutic. The nightmare continues. By the early 1940s, Farmer's mental health had deteriorated significantly. Her defiance against the studio system, coupled with her struggles with substance abuse, led to increasingly erratic behavior. The public nature of her troubles only intensified the scrutiny and pressure she faced. The infamous 1942 arrest was the turning point. After being apprehended for a minor traffic violation, Farmer's vehement resistance and the subsequent courtroom outburst were widely reported. Labeled as unmanageable and unstable, the court ordered a psychiatric evaluation. The media, ever hungry for scandal, painted her as a madwoman, and the judicial system, influenced by the sensationalist press and the lack of understanding of mental health, deemed her unfit. The result was her commitment to a series of psychiatric institutions, starting with the Kimball Sanitarium in La Crescenta, California. On the other hand, Farmer's time in psychiatric institutions was marked by allegations of severe mistreatment and abuse, transforming her struggle into a nightmarish ordeal. These facilities, far from being havens of healing, subjected her to a series of punitive treatments that were both archaic and inhumane. Reports and accounts from Farmer and those close to her painted a grim picture of the conditions she endured. At Western State Hospital in Steilacoom, Washington, where she spent a significant portion of her institutionalization, Farmer allegedly underwent electroconvulsive therapy, ECT. This treatment, often administered without proper anesthesia or consent, was excruciating and left her disoriented and traumatized. ECT was used liberally during that era, more as a tool to subdue and control patients than to offer genuine therapeutic benefits. Farmer also recounted being subjected to hydrotherapy, which involved being submerged in cold water for extended periods, and prolonged solitary confinement. These methods were intended to break her spirit and force compliance. However, the most harrowing allegation was that of a transorbital lobotomy, a procedure that was rumored but never conclusively proven. If true, this would have had devastating and irreversible effects on her mental and emotional faculties. Beyond the physical torture, Farmer faced psychological abuse and neglect. Isolated from her family and friends, she was stripped of her dignity and humanity. The staff, seeing her as merely another unruly patient, treated her with contempt and indifference. This compounded her sense of abandonment and hopelessness, deepening her psychological scars. The years Frances Farmer spent in psychiatric institutions irreparably damaged her life and career. Emerging from the harrowing experiences, she was a shadow of her former self. The once vibrant and defiant actress was now subdued, her spirit broken by the relentless abuse and mistreatment. The stigma of her institutionalization followed her, overshadowing her previous achievements and tainting public perception. Her career, once brimming with potential, was in ruins. Hollywood, ever fickle, had moved on, and the industry that once celebrated her talent now shunned her. Attempts to resurrect her career met with limited success. In the 1950s, Farmer made sporadic appearances on stage and television, but she was never able to recapture the heights of her early success. The public, conditioned by years of scandalous headlines, viewed her with a mixture of pity and suspicion. The psychological toll of her institutionalization was profound. Farmer struggled with trust and intimacy, her relationships marred by the trauma she endured. Her mental health, though somewhat stabilized, remained fragile, and she battled with the lasting effects of the abuse for the rest of her life. The narrative of her life became a cautionary tale of the brutal realities faced by those who fall out of favor with Hollywood's powerful elite. Failed attempts at a comeback. Emerging from the shadows of psychiatric institutions in the early 1950s, Frances Farmer embarked on a courageous journey to reclaim her career and life. The Hollywood she re-entered was markedly different from the one she had left, with new stars and shifting trends. Despite the odds, Farmer's determination to revive her career was unwavering. Farmer's first significant step towards a comeback came with her return to the stage. She appeared in regional theater productions, where she found solace and a semblance of normalcy. Farmer's attempts to revive her career were met with challenges, both within the industry and in her personal life. The Hollywood elite, wary of her troubled history, were reluctant to offer her significant roles. The industry's focus on youth and glamour further marginalized Farmer, who was now in her 40s and bore the scars of her ordeals. The press, ever eager for sensational stories, continued to scrutinize her every move. Any misstep or hint of instability was magnified, making it difficult for Farmer to fully escape her past. The constant public and media scrutiny took a toll on her mental health, exacerbating her struggles. On a personal level, Farmer faced numerous obstacles. Her relationships were often strained by the residual effects of her institutionalization and the trauma she had endured. Trust issues and emotional scars made it difficult for her to form lasting connections. She experienced periods of isolation and depression, battling the lingering demons of her past. Farmer's financial situation was also precarious. The years of institutionalization had drained her resources, and the sporadic nature of her work provided little financial security. She often relied on the support of friends and family who stood by her during her most challenging times. Despite these hardships, Farmer showed remarkable resilience. Her autobiography, Will There Really Be a Morning, published in 1972, offered a candid and poignant account of her life and struggles. The book received critical acclaim and helped to shift public perception, portraying Farmer not just as a tragic figure, but as a survivor of a deeply flawed system. Her sad final years. Frances Farmer's final years were a blend of quiet resilience and lingering sorrow. After her show, Frances Farmer Presents, ended in 1964, she retreated from the public eye, choosing to live a more private life. Her health, both mental and physical, continued to be a concern, with bouts of illness and depression marking her later years. In the late 1960s, she moved to a small home in Indianapolis, where she lived with a companion who provided care and support. Her life became one of relative solitude, far removed from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. Yet, in this quiet existence, Farmer found a degree of peace. Tragically, Frances Farmer passed away on August 1, 1970, at the age of 56 from esophageal cancer. Her death marked the end of a tumultuous journey. They say money doesn't buy happiness. These golden age celebrities found that to be true for the most part of their lives. From fighting for their children to becoming mentally paranoid, this video is proof that money can only buy so much. Howard Hughes, thrown into darkness. It's one thing to live a life of sadness, but it's another to be obsessed with things that don't really matter and throw yourself into oblivion like this man did. You see, Howard Hughes was born on December 24, 1905, into a life of privilege and potential. The son of a successful inventor, Howard R. Hughes Sr., and his wife Aline, young Howard was introduced to engineering and innovation early on. His father's business, the Hughes Tool Company, laid the financial foundation for Howard's later ventures. Despite this wealth, Hughes's childhood was marked by isolation and illness. They shaped a future full of challenges. From a young age, Hughes exhibited a keen interest in mechanics and aviation. By 14, he had already built his own motorized bicycle and modified a car to be one of Houston's first motor vehicles. His passion for flight was ignited further when he took his first airplane ride. This fascination led him to Hollywood, where the merging of his inventive spirit and the allure of the silver screen awaited. Hughes made his way to Hollywood in the 1920s, initially investing in films before deciding to produce his own. His big break came with the epic war film Hell's Angels in 1930, a production that nearly bankrupted him due to its unprecedented budget. However, the film's success solidified his reputation as a visionary, albeit an extravagant one. Hughes continued to produce and direct films, including Scarface and The Outlaw. each project further cementing his status in Hollywood. Hughes's fame was not confined to Hollywood. His ventures in aviation were groundbreaking. He founded Hughes Aircraft Company, setting multiple world airspeed records and designing cutting-edge aircraft. His achievements earned him a Congressional Gold Medal, and his business acumen saw the Hughes empire expand into real estate, electronics, and medical research. By the mid-20th century, Hughes was one of the wealthiest men in the world, with a fortune that seemed limitless. Despite his monumental success, Hughes's life was plagued by severe unhappiness. His OCD got worse as he aged. It led to strange behaviors and extreme reclusiveness. The chronic pain from numerous plane crashes exacerbated his condition, driving him to rely heavily on painkillers. Hughes's paranoia grew, isolating him from friends, colleagues, and even reality. Hughes's reclusiveness became legendary. He hid in dark hotel rooms and used notes to talk to the outside world. He had an entourage that did whatever he wanted, no matter how irrational. His fear of germs reached debilitating heights, compelling him to wear tissues on his feet and burn his clothes after a single use. The final years of Hughes's life were a tragic descent into solitude and madness. His physical health deteriorated, exacerbated by neglect and his addiction to codeine. On April 5, 1976, Hughes died aboard an aircraft en route to seek medical treatment, his body a frail shadow of the once vibrant innovator. His estate, worth an estimated $1.5 billion, was a testament to his achievements, but also a stark reminder of a life consumed by fear and obsession. Mary Astor, the fight for her children. No matter how rich and famous you get, no one ever wants to lose their children, and this became the bane of Astor's life and career. Mary Astor, born Lucille Vasconcelos Langhanke on May 3, 1906, in Quincy, Illinois, rose to prominence in Hollywood with a career that seamlessly transitioned from silent films to talkies. Her acting talent and striking looks made her a sought-after star. This led to roles in over 120 films, including classics like The Maltese Falcon and The Great Lie. Despite her professional success, Astor's personal life was tumultuous and fraught with scandal, overshadowing her achievements. Astor's career began in the silent film era. Her expressive face and captivating presence quickly earned her leading roles. By the 1930s, she had successfully made the transition to sound films, showcasing her versatility and securing her status as a Hollywood star. Her performance in The Great Lie earned her an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, solidifying her place in the industry. Astor's professional success, however, was marred by a highly publicized scandal that shook Hollywood. In 1936, she became embroiled in a bitter custody battle with her second husband, Dr. Franklin Thorpe, over their daughter, Marilyn. The trial became a media sensation when Thorpe introduced Astor's personal diaries as evidence, which detailed her numerous affairs, including a notorious liaison with playwright George S. Kaufman. The diaries, dubbed the Purple Diaries for their racy content, painted a picture of a woman caught between her desires and societal expectations. The scandal had two sides for Astor. It threatened to ruin her career, but the public's interest in her private life also kept her in the spotlight. This ensured her continued relevance in Hollywood. Despite the scandal, Astor managed to maintain her career, a testament to her resilience and talent. She continued to deliver strong performances in films such as Meet Me in St. Louis and Little Women. Her ability to weather the storm of public scrutiny and personal adversity only added to her mystique and depth as an actress. Astor's personal life remained turbulent beyond the custody battle. She married 4 times, each relationship fraught with its own challenges. Her struggles with alcoholism further complicated her life, impacting both her career and personal relationships. Astor's battle with addiction was a constant shadow over her later years, contributing to her unhappiness and sense of isolation. Astor passed away on September 25, 1987, leaving behind a legacy of remarkable performances and a life story that continues to captivate. Her journey from silent film star to sound film icon is nothing short of amazing. However, trials of life seem to get the better of her. Gloria Graham, life like a roller coaster. Born Gloria Hallward on November 28, 1923, in Los Angeles, California, right in the heart of the budding film industry. From an early age, Graham exhibited a natural talent for performance, eventually leading her to the bright lights of Broadway. Her stage success quickly caught Hollywood's attention, and she made her film debut in 1944 with Blonde Fever. However, it was her role in It's a Wonderful Life, 1946, that truly put her on the map, albeit in a small but memorable part. Graham's big break came with her role in Crossfire, 1947, which earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. This was just the beginning of a series of powerful performances in films like In a Lonely Place, 1950, alongside Humphrey Bogart, and The Big Heat, 1953, where she cemented her reputation as a compelling and versatile actress. Her portrayal of the morally complex characters, often teetering on the edge of good and evil, showcased her exceptional range and depth. In 1952, Graham won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for her role in The Bad and the Beautiful. This accolade confirmed her place among Hollywood's elite and brought her substantial wealth and recognition. Yet Graham's off-screen life was as dramatic as her on-screen roles. Her personal life was full of scandals. The most notorious was her affair with her then stepson, Anthony Ray. He was the son of her second husband, director Nicholas Ray. The affair began when Anthony was a teenager and Graham was still married to Nicholas, which caused a sensational scandal when it was revealed. Graham later married Anthony Ray, further fueling the controversy and impacting her reputation. Her tumultuous personal life didn't end there. Graham was married 4 times, each marriage fraught with its own set of challenges. Her relationships were often stormy, contributing to the public's fascination with her personal life. In the late 1970s, Graham's health began to decline. She was diagnosed with breast cancer, a battle she fought with characteristic resilience. Despite her illness, she continued to work, driven by her passion for acting. However, the disease ultimately took its toll. Gloria Graham passed away on October 5, 1981, at the age of 57. Laird Cregar, Fit Fam Gone Wrong. She was one of Hollywood's most promising character actors, known for his imposing presence and memorable performances. Born Samuel Laird Cregar on July 28, 1913, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Cregar was a towering figure both physically and talent-wise. His life, however, was a tragic tale of ambition, struggle, and an untimely death that cut short a burgeoning career. Cregar's journey to Hollywood was marked by a deep passion for acting. After attending the prestigious Episcopal Academy and then studying at the University of California, Berkeley, Cregar honed his craft on the stage, performing with local theater companies. His talent quickly became apparent, and he soon caught the attention of Hollywood scouts. Cregar made his film debut in 1940 with Oh, Johnny, How You Can Love, but it was his performance in Hudson's Bay, 1941, that brought him into the limelight. His ability to portray complex villains and characters with a brooding intensity made him a standout. Roles in films such as I Wake Up Screaming, 1941, and This Gun for Hire, 1942, solidified his reputation as a formidable character actor. Standing at 6 feet 3 inches and weighing around 300 pounds, Cregar's physicality was both his asset and his curse. He often portrayed menacing characters, using his size to his advantage in creating memorable, larger-than-life villains. His role in The Lodger, 1944, as Jack the Ripper, was particularly chilling, showcasing his ability to delve deep into the psyche of dark characters. Despite his success, Cregar was acutely aware of how his weight typecast him into certain roles. He yearned to play leading men in romantic roles, a desire that became a driving force in his life. Determined to transform his image, Cregar embarked on a drastic weight loss regimen in 1944. He adopted a severe diet and exercise program, and even took amphetamines to accelerate the process. His goal was to shed the weight that he believed was holding him back from achieving greater success in Hollywood. The transformation was dramatic. He lost over 100 pounds in a short period, a feat that left him almost unrecognizable. However, the rapid weight loss took a severe toll on his health, both physically and mentally. Cregar's body struggled to cope with the sudden change, and he began to suffer from intense abdominal pain. Despite his deteriorating health, Cregar continued to work, taking on a role in Hangover Square, 1945. His performance was lauded, but it would be his last. In December 1944, Just before the film's release, Krager was admitted to the hospital with severe abdominal issues. He underwent surgery for a stomach ailment, but complications arose. On December 9, 1944, at the age of 31, Laird Krager passed away due to a heart attack brought on by the stress of his drastic weight loss measures and the subsequent surgery. Hollywood mourned the loss of a remarkable talent whose potential had only just begun to be realized. Laird Krager's legacy is a poignant reminder of the pressures faced by actors in Hollywood, particularly regarding physical appearance and typecasting. His dedication to his craft and his desire to expand beyond the roles assigned to him demonstrate his passion and ambition. However, his story also highlights the dangers of extreme measures taken to fit the industry's mold. Susan Peters' ability and disability. Although she no doubt had a promising career, it was tragically cut short by a devastating hunting accident that altered the course of her life. She was born on July 3, 1921 in Spokane, Washington as Suzanne Carnahan. Peters showed early promise in acting. She eventually made her way to Hollywood and got attention for her talent and charm. She began her career in Hollywood in the late 1930s, quickly establishing herself as a talented actress with roles in films like Young Ideas, 1943, and Random Harvest, 1942, for which she received an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Her performances were marked by a natural grace and emotional depth that captivated audiences and earned her critical acclaim. But just when thighs were starting to get really good for her, something horrible happened. In 1945, tragedy struck Peters during a hunting trip with her husband, actor Richard Quine. A rifle accidentally discharged, severely injuring her spinal cord and leaving her paralyzed from the waist down. The accident not only devastated Peters physically, but also dealt a severe blow to her promising career. At the age of just 24, she found herself confined to a wheelchair, facing a future vastly different from the one she had envisioned. Susan faced immense challenges in adjusting to her new reality. Despite her disability, she was determined to continue her acting career. She made a courageous return to the screen in 1948 with a role in The Sign of the Ram, portraying a wheelchair-bound character which earned her praise for her poignant portrayal. However, Hollywood at that time was not as accommodating to actors with disabilities as it is today, and Peters found fewer opportunities available to her. The physical and emotional toll of her injury, combined with the limitations it imposed on her career, took a profound toll on Peters. She tragically passed away on October 23, 1952, at the age of 31, due to complications from pneumonia. Her death marked the end of a promising career and a life marked by resilience in the face of overwhelming adversity. Dorothy Dandridge, victim of racial discrimination. She was the trailblazing actress and singer whose legacy in Hollywood transcends her captivating performances and profound impact on racial barriers. Born on November 9, 1922, in Cleveland, Ohio, Dandridge began her career at a young age alongside her sister Vivian in the vaudeville circuit. Her journey from humble beginnings to becoming the first African-American woman nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress is marked by both triumphs and tribulations. Dandridge was talented and beautiful. This quickly put her in the spotlight of entertainment. She gained recognition for her performances in films such as Carmen Jones, 1954, where she starred as the title character and received critical acclaim for her portrayal. The role not only showcased her acting prowess, but also made her a symbol of empowerment for African-American women in Hollywood. As an African-American woman in the 1950s, Dandridge faced immense challenges due to racial segregation and discrimination prevalent in the film industry. Despite these obstacles, she persisted in challenging stereotypes and pushing boundaries. Her success in Carmen Jones not only broke racial barriers, but also paved the way for future generations of African-American actresses. Behind the glamour of her career, Dandridge grappled with personal demons and financial difficulties. She faced turbulent relationships, including a tumultuous marriage to Harold Nicholas and subsequent divorces that strained her emotionally and financially. Despite her professional achievements, Dandridge struggled to secure stable financial footing, a reflection of the systemic inequalities faced by African-American performers in Hollywood. Dorothy Dandridge tragically passed away on September 8, 1965, at the age of 42. due to an overdose of antidepressant medication. Her death marked the premature end of a life marked by resilience and talent, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire generations. Dandridge's contributions to film and her role in breaking racial barriers remain a testament to her enduring impact on the entertainment industry and her enduring legacy as a trailblazer for African American performers. Gloria Vanderbilt, The Rich Also Cry. Born into one of America's wealthiest families, lived a life that intertwined privilege with profound personal struggles. Beyond her reputation as an heiress and socialite, Vanderbilt's experiences in Hollywood's golden age were marked by significant challenges that shaped her emotional landscape. Born on February 20, 1924, Gloria Vanderbilt was the daughter of Reginald Claypool Vanderbilt, heir to the Vanderbilt Railroad fortune, and Gloria Morgan Vanderbilt, a socialite. Her father's sudden death when she was just a baby left a lasting impact on her childhood. The loss of her father not only deprived her of paternal guidance, but also set the stage for a life overshadowed by the complexities of inheritance and family wealth. In her youth, Vanderbilt dabbled in acting and modeling, stepping briefly into the Hollywood spotlight. However, her true passion lay in art and design, where she found creative expression throughout her life. Her artistic endeavors provided a personal refuge from the pressures of societal expectations and the weight of her family legacy. Despite her financial security, Vanderbilt's life was marred by personal tragedies that took a toll on her emotional well-being. One of the most significant challenges was the loss of custody battles for her children. Her marriages, particularly to Pat DeSico and Wyatt Emery Cooper, were tumultuous, and the custody battles that followed were highly publicized and emotionally draining. These custody battles, coupled with the public scrutiny of her personal life, contributed to periods of unhappiness and emotional turmoil. Vanderbilt struggled with the demands of fame and fortune, grappling with the expectations placed upon her as a public figure and as a member of one of America's wealthiest families. Barbara Hutton, born with a silver spoon. On November 14, 1912, she was born into the Woolworth family fortune, epitomized the complexities of wealth and privilege in Hollywood's golden age. However, despite her immense fortune and glamorous lifestyle, Hutton's life was marred by personal struggles that overshadowed her public image. Barbara Hutton inherited a vast fortune from her father, Frank W. Woolworth, founder of the Woolworth retail empire. From a young age, she was thrust into the spotlight as one of the wealthiest heiresses in the world, known for her opulent lifestyle and extravagant spending habits. As a prominent socialite in Hollywood, Hutton mingled with celebrities and became a fixture in high society circles. Her wealth and status afforded her access to exclusive parties and luxurious lifestyles, establishing her as a notable figure in the entertainment industry. Despite her privileged upbringing, Hutton faced numerous personal challenges that plagued her throughout her life. She endured multiple failed marriages, including unions with Cary Grant and Prince Igor Trubetskoy, which garnered intense media scrutiny and added to her public persona as the poor little rich girl. Throughout her adult life, Barbara Hutton battled with substance abuse issues, which exacerbated her personal struggles and contributed to periods of instability. Her struggles with addiction were well documented in the media, further complicating her public image and personal life. Barbara Hutton's life serves as a cautionary tale of the perils of extreme wealth and fame. Despite her access to privilege and luxury, she experienced profound unhappiness and personal turmoil, and had a life filled with sadness and pain, exacerbated by failed relationships, substance abuse, and the pressures of public scrutiny she faced for the most part of her life. In her later years, Barbara retreated from the public eye, seeking solace in her private world. She passed away on May 11, 1979, leaving behind a legacy that continues to captivate and intrigue. Frances Farmer's life is nothing short of insane. From her childhood to her entry into Hollywood, down to the diagnosis that changed her life, there's nothing ordinary about her. But beyond the movie roles and the spotlight, you would be awed by all of the many factors that played when the cameras were off. Before the household name. Frances Elena Farmer, born on September 19, 1913 in Seattle, Washington, came into the world with a destiny colored by both promise and tumult. Her parents, Cora Lillian and Ernest Melvin Farmer, provided a mixed backdrop. Her father hailed from Spring Valley, Minnesota, while her mother, a descendant of Oregon pioneers, operated a boarding house and pursued a career in dietetics. Frances grew up amidst a bustling family dynamic that included an older sister, Edith, an older brother, Wesley, and a half-sister, Rita, from her mother's previous marriage. Tragedy also touched her early years with the loss of a sibling to pneumonia before the births of Wesley and Edith. At the age of 4, Frances witnessed her parents' separation, prompting her mother to relocate with the children to Los Angeles, then later to Chico, California, where she pursued nutritional research. The family's life in Chico proved short-lived after Lillian concluded that balancing work with childcare was untenable, prompting a return to Seattle via Albany, Oregon. This period marked a pivotal moment for Frances, as she grappled with the instability of her home life and the realization that adults could not always provide the stability she craved. Back in Seattle, familial tensions persisted despite efforts at reconciliation between her parents. By the time Frances turned 16, her parents officially divorced, leaving her and her siblings to navigate their teenage years under strained circumstances. Despite the challenges at home, Frances exhibited a remarkable intellect and burgeoning literary talent, evident in her winning entry, God Dies, in a scholastic writing contest during her senior year at West Seattle High School. This provocative essay reflected her early grappling with existential questions influenced by her readings of Nietzsche, marking her as a precocious thinker unafraid to challenge conventional beliefs. After high school, Frances pursued higher education at the University of Washington, initially studying journalism while supporting herself through various jobs, including usherette, waitress, tutor, and even a singing waitress at Mount Rainier National Park. It was during this time that Frances found her true calling in the university's drama department, where she starred in several acclaimed productions. Her talent and dedication earned her recognition both on campus and in local press reviews, setting the stage for a promising career in theater and film. In retrospect, one may see that such a background and childhood could serve as ingredients for success in the Hollywood industry. Frances was put on a path where she would learn all that needed to be learned so she could eventually showcase it and use the tools later in life. Did this happen? Or is this yet another story that doesn't quite pan out the way they'd hoped? Journey into Hollywood. Returning from her eye-opening journey across the Soviet Union in the summer of 1935, Frances Farmer arrived in New York City with dreams as big as the city itself. But that's not all. Fate had a Hollywood twist waiting just around the corner. In the bustling metropolis, she crossed paths with Shepard Traub, a talent agent whose introduction would alter her destiny. Traub wasted no time, connecting her with Oscar Serlin, Paramount Pictures' keen-eyed talent scout. Serlin, impressed by Farmer's raw talent and magnetic presence, promptly arranged a screen test that would prove to be her ticket to stardom. Paramount, recognizing her potential, wasted no time in offering Frances a lucrative 7-year contract, a deal she eagerly inked on her 22nd birthday. From the bustling streets of New York, she found herself whisked away to the sun-drenched studios of Los Angeles, where she underwent dental surgery to perfect her smile, a necessary step in her transformation from promising talent to silver screen sensation. In November 1935, Frances Farmer made her debut in Too Many Parents, a breezy comedy that charmed audiences and set the stage for her ascent. But here's where it gets interesting. Just months later, love blossomed on the Paramount lot when she married fellow contract player Leif Erikson. Their union added a layer of personal intrigue to Frances's burgeoning career, which continued to soar with her next role in the drama Border Flight. However, 1936 proved to be a pivotal year as Frances Farmer earned her stripes in Hollywood's upper echelons. Cast opposite Bing Crosby in Rhythm on the Range, she found herself starstruck by her co-star, confessing to a long-standing crush that made their on-screen chemistry all the more electrifying. The film's success catapulted her into the limelight, prompting Paramount's head honcho Adolf Zukor to remind her of the responsibilities that came with stardom, a role she was reluctant to play. Despite her rising fame, Frances remained defiant, opting to spend her days in Laurel Canyon with Leif rather than hobnobbing at Hollywood soirees. Paramount, eager to capitalize on her nonconformist charm, dubbed her the star who would not go Hollywood, a moniker that only enhanced her mystique and allure. Despite all of these, Frances Farmer's journey was not without its storms. Lent to Samuel Goldwyn for Come and Get It, she found herself sinking in behind-the-scenes drama, clashing fiercely with director William Wyler. Their terrible relationship on set mirrored her internal struggle against Hollywood's attempts to mold her into a marketable commodity. But despite Wyler's scathing remarks, Frances's performance shone brightly, earning accolades that likened her to the enigmatic Greta Garbo. Regardless, the roller coaster of fame continued in 1937 when Frances was loaned to RKO for The Toast of New York, opposite Cary Grant. Here, she faced another battle against studio meddling, resisting efforts to soften her character's edge. Frances's rebellious spirit sparked clashes with director Roland V. Lee and drew skeptical gazes from the press, unyielding in her quest to maintain authenticity in an industry built on illusion. Already, it didn't take a genius to realize that working in the studios was far more chaotic than she thought. She was a very strong individual with strong opinions and ideals, but that didn't matter to most of the directors she worked with. All they wanted was to mold her and turn her into exactly what they wanted. Now, some other actresses would easily go along with this, but not Farmer. She would rather leave the studio than be treated like a commodity. Studio to theater transition. In mid-1937, Frances Farmer found herself at a crossroads in Hollywood, disillusioned with the studio's attempts to mold her into a marketable commodity. Seeking artistic fulfillment and a chance to prove herself as a serious actress, she made a bold decision. She left the glitz of Hollywood behind and ventured to the East Coast for a summer of theater. But that's not all. Her journey took a dramatic turn when she caught the eye of director Harold Clurman and playwright Clifford Odets, luminaries of the group theater, a bastion of avant-garde drama. In a twist of fate, Farmer was invited to join the cast of Clifford Odets' electrifying play Golden Boy, a role that would test her mettle and redefine her career trajectory. The play opened to mixed reviews, with skeptics questioning her casting. However, Farmer's undeniable box office appeal turned Golden Boy into the group theater's most successful production to date, silencing critics and solidifying her status as a powerhouse on the stage. But here's where it gets interesting. Amidst the whirlwind of success, Frances found herself entangled in a passionate affair with Clifford Odets, despite his marriage to actress Louise Rayner. Their relationship, fueled by artistic fervor and emotional intensity, seemed destined for the spotlight. However, the abrupt end of their affair left Frances reeling, feeling betrayed by the theatrical world she had embraced. Her disillusionment deepened when another actress was chosen over her for the London run of Golden Boy, leading her to question the true motives behind the group theater's decisions. Despite her emotional turmoil, Frances Farmer returned to Los Angeles, where she starred alongside her husband Leif Erikson in Ride a Crooked Mile, 1938. Yet the stage beckoned once more, and in April 1939 she graced Broadway in Quiet City, an experimental play that pushed artistic boundaries under the direction of Elia Kazan. Her return to the Great White Way continued with Thunder Rock later that year, but the production's lukewarm reception left her disheartened. Frances' struggles continued as she navigated Broadway's demanding landscape. In a bold move, she accepted a role in Ernest Hemingway's The Fifth Column, only to withdraw during rehearsals due to personal struggles and depression, resulting in professional repercussions and a significant fine. Yet her resilience shone through as she returned to Paramount for South of Pago Pago, 1940, showcasing her versatility in a tale of adventure and romance. Her cinematic journey continued with Flowing Gold, a compelling drama set against the backdrop of the oil industry, where she starred opposite John Garfield under Warner Brothers. Amidst film commitments, Frances found solace in summer stock theater on the East Coast, seeking refuge from the tumultuous world of Hollywood. Regardless of her circumstances, Frances's personal life mirrored her professional challenges. A lonely winter in New York City was followed by a return to Los Angeles, where she immersed herself in her next film, world premiere, 1941, alongside screen legend John Barrymore. Her versatility shone in the film noir Among the Living, 1941, yet behind the scenes she wrestled with personal demons, finding brief respite in her work. But there was more trouble waiting for her on the horizon. The saga of her life. On a fateful October night in 1942, Frances Farmer found herself in the midst of a wartime blackout zone in Santa Monica, her headlights blazing on high beam. What started as a routine traffic stop quickly escalated into a night of turmoil when she failed to produce her driver's license and allegedly lashed out at the officers. Suspicions of drunkenness led to her spending a harrowing night behind bars, her car impounded, and a hefty $500 fine imposed alongside a 180-day suspended sentence. Swiftly paying half the fine, Frances was placed on probation, but her troubles were far from over. Undeterred by her recent legal entanglement, Frances' agent secured her a role in an independent film adaptation of John Steinbeck's Murder at Lawless, filming slated to commence in Mexico City. However, upon arrival, she faced another setback. The unfinished script stalled production indefinitely, leaving her stranded and entangled in allegations of disorderly conduct. Forced to return to California under a cloud of controversy, she discovered her Santa Monica home had been cleared out by her own family, a surreal betrayal that left her reeling. January 1943 brought further turmoil. Frances, still grappling with the aftermath of her legal woes, faced a new crisis when a bench warrant was issued for her arrest due to unpaid fines. Simultaneously, allegations surfaced of an assault on a studio hairdresser, compounded by sensational reports of her alleged involvement in a bar brawl and a bizarre incident of running topless down Sunset Boulevard. Police descended on the Knickerbocker Hotel to apprehend her, sparking a dramatic confrontation that culminated in her erratic behavior at the ensuing court hearing. At the hearing, Frances's behavior shocked onlookers and court officials alike. She vehemently protested against what she perceived as injustices, threw an inkwell at the judge, and made startling confessions about her drinking habits, openly admitting to spiking her beverages with liquor and regularly consuming Benzedrine. The judge's verdict was swift and severe: 180 days in jail. However, amidst the chaos, Frances's sister-in-law, a deputy sheriff, intervened, redirecting her to the psychiatric ward of Los Angeles General Hospital. Diagnosed with manic-depressive psychosis, Frances's descent into psychiatric care began, marked by controversial treatments including insulin shock therapy. Her family's objection to these treatments sparked a legal battle documented in her sister's writings and court records, further complicating her already tumultuous journey. After 9 months in a psychiatric institution, Frances made a bold escape, walking away from the Kimball Sanitarium to seek solace with her half-sister Rita, a poignant moment that highlighted her desperate quest for freedom amidst the confines of psychiatric care. The saga continues. In her quest for autonomy amidst ongoing family discord, Frances Farmer's journey took a dramatic turn as her mother, Lillian, sought guardianship over her from the state of California. Despite expert opinions favoring continued psychiatric treatment, Lillian's determination prevailed, and they departed Los Angeles together in September 1943. However, the reunion in West Seattle quickly soured into bitter conflicts, culminating in a physical altercation that led Lillian to have Frances committed to Western State Hospital at Steilacoom. Frances vividly recounted her time at the institution in a 1958 interview, describing a stark reality where individual psychiatric care was scarce, and treatments like shots, hydrotherapy baths, and electric shocks were administered to maintain order rather than heal.
I stood in line with 15 or 20 girls like myself in the hospital for one reason or another. We received shots or hydrotherapy baths or electric shock treatments, and this was supposed to relax the tensions and keep us quiet, which it did.
She acknowledged the hospital's limitations in coping with the overwhelming number of patients, reflecting on the subdued environment these treatments enforced without significant personal benefit. After 3 months, Frances was discharged in early July 1944, deemed completely cured. Yet her newfound freedom was short-lived when she was arrested for vagrancy in Antioch, California, just days later. Her father intervened in January 1945, relocating her to her aunt's ranch in Yerington, Nevada, where Frances's restlessness led to another escape, followed by a brief return after being found in Reno. By May 1945, Lillian's concerns about Frances's mental state prompted a sanity hearing, resulting in her recommittal to Western State Hospital. For the next 5 years, Frances remained confined, primarily in the hospital's high-security ward for violent patients. Her institutionalization sparked public debate and scrutiny, a contentious chapter that continued to echo long after her passing. The ultimate comeback. On March 23, 1950, Frances Farmer was paroled into her mother's care at the request of her parents. A year later, on March 25, 1951, she was formally discharged from Western State Hospital, although she remained unaware of this for 2 years, fearing she might be recommitted at any moment. When she discovered her discharge in June 1953, Frances successfully petitioned the Superior Court to lift her mother's conservatorship. Regaining her freedom, Frances took a job at the Olympic Hotel in Seattle, where she had once been celebrated during the premiere of Come and Get It in 1936. It was there that a co-worker arranged a blind date for her with Alfred H. Lobley, a city utility worker, whom she married in April 1954. Initially, they lived with Frances's aging and ailing mother, Lillian. After Lillian was moved to a nursing home, Frances's marriage to Lobley began to falter. During this turbulent period, Frances remained distant from her sister until Lillian's passing from a stroke in March 1955. After their mother's death, her sister Edith relocated to Portland, Oregon, to be closer to their father, who also passed away from stroke on July 15, 1956. Frances and Edith sporadically corresponded during this time and even spent an afternoon together at the Grotto in Portland, reminiscing about their past. In late 1957, Frances separated from Lobley and moved to Eureka, California, where she found work as a bookkeeper and secretary at a commercial photo studio. It was in Eureka that she met Leland C. Mikesell, a broadcast promoter, and they soon began a romantic relationship. Mikesell saw potential for Frances's comeback, and they eventually married in 1958 after moving to San Francisco, where Frances briefly worked as a hotel clerk. Frances's reflections on her life, as shared in a December 1957 interview with Modern Screen, highlighted her struggles and the decisions that had shaped her. She made efforts to reclaim her public image through appearances on The Ed Sullivan Show and This Is Your Life, adamantly refuting allegations of alcoholism and drug use that had plagued her career. Returning to the stage in August 1957 with a production in New Hope, Pennsylvania, Frances embarked on a resurgence, appearing in live television dramas and making her final film, The Party Crashers, in 1958. She accepted a lead role in Yes, My Darling Daughter in July 1958, marking a significant return to theater and signaling a hopeful new chapter in her career and personal life. Frances Farmer, Against All Odds. Frances Farmer's return to the stage proved pivotal when she was offered the opportunity to host her own daytime movie program, Frances Farmer Presents. The show, which debuted after a television executive from the local NBC affiliate WFBM-TV, now WRTV, saw her performance in the Chalk Garden in August 1958, quickly made her a beloved host. Known for her amiable demeanor, Frances became popular among viewers and was even recognized as a local businesswoman of the year, receiving an award for her contributions. However, by March 1959, national reports indicated trouble in her personal life as she separated from Leland C. Mikesell, who subsequently sued her for breach of contract. That same year, Frances found companionship and support with Janira Jean Ratcliffe, a widow from Indianapolis with whom she moved in. In 1962, Frances returned to acting with a role in Purdue University's production of Anton Chekhov's The Seagull, The following year, her divorce from Mikesell was finalized in Indianapolis, marking a significant personal transition. Despite her successes, Frances Farmer Presents came to an abrupt end in the summer of 1964. Initially fired by the station's general manager in April, Frances was rehired 2 months later, only to be permanently dismissed by late August or early September, reportedly due to concerns over her alleged drinking habits. Undeterred, Frances continued her theatrical pursuits, accepting roles in Purdue summer theater productions like Ketty Frings's Look Homeward, Angel. In 1965, she portrayed Claire Zachanassian in Purdue's production of Friedrich Dürrenmatt's The Visit, described as a departure from the slick adaptations seen elsewhere. Playing a character both charming and ominous, Frances brought a unique intensity to the role, which resonated deeply with audiences. During the run of The Visit, Frances was involved in a notable incident, a drunk driving crash that drew media attention. Reflecting on the event, Frances humorously recounted how she momentarily slipped into her character's persona, embodying the role of the eccentric Zachanassian with her characteristic flair. Despite the scandal, the incident only seemed to enhance her theatrical mystique, as the next night's performance sold out completely. For Frances, this marked a significant moment in her career. Though initially reluctant to return to the stage, she was moved by the audience's overwhelming support and applause, viewing it as a validation of her talent and resilience. With over 50 films to her credit, Julie Adams was every bit one of the most sensational actresses to have ever graced Hollywood.
Thank you. I like the movie too. I really enjoy it.
However, most of her fans only know about her in bits and pieces.
That's why I really wasn't up for it at the beginning, because I felt I didn't even go pursue it because I felt, I would probably be too young.
But her entire career is as spooky as the horror roles she embodied and would send shivers down your spine. The start of a historical career. Born Betty Mae Adams on October 17, 1926, in Waterloo, Iowa, Julie Adams embarked on a journey fueled by early ambitions and a relentless drive to succeed in Hollywood. Raised in Arkansas, her passion for acting blossomed during her teenage years, setting her on a path towards the entertainment industry. At just 19, Adams won a beauty contest that propelled her to California, where she chased her dreams of stardom. In Hollywood, Adams faced the initial challenges with unwavering determination, taking on a variety of small roles to gain experience and exposure in the competitive film industry. She made her mark primarily in westerns and B-movies, showcasing her talent in films like Red, Hot and Blue, 1949, and The Dalton Gang, 1949. Despite the modest nature of these early roles, Adams's charm and skill did not go unnoticed, earning her recognition from producers and directors who saw promise in her abilities. However, it was a pivotal shift to the horror and sci-fi genres that would define Julie Adams' career trajectory. Her breakthrough came with the iconic 1954 film Creature from the Black Lagoon. She played Kay Lawrence, a scientist who captures the creature's fascination. Adams's performance in this role not only catapulted her to fame, but also solidified her as a prominent figure in the realm of horror cinema. Her portrayal brought a unique blend of strength, vulnerability, and charisma to the screen, captivating audiences and critics alike. After her success in Creature from the Black Lagoon, Adams became a leading lady in horror and sci-fi. She appeared in a series of films and TV shows. These roles further showed her skill and depth as an actress. She could convey complex emotions well. These were from fear to resilience. They resonated deeply with audiences. They earned her a devoted following among horror and sci-fi fans. Throughout her career, Julie Adams's journey was characterized by her ability to evolve with the industry while maintaining her distinctive presence on screen. Her contributions to the horror genre and beyond left an indelible mark, underscoring her talent, determination, and enduring legacy in Hollywood. Her breakthrough role. Creature from the Black Lagoon, released in 1954, is one of those classic horror movies that everyone remembers. It's set in the Amazon and follows scientists who find a scary, ancient creature living in a lagoon. The creature, kind of scary but also a bit sympathetic, gets fascinated with Julie Adams's character, Kay Lawrence. This sets up a thrilling story full of suspense. What made Creature from the Black Lagoon so special was not just its cool 3D effects and spooky atmosphere, but also its underwater scenes. These were super innovative at the time and made you feel like you were right there with the characters. Directed by Jack Arnold, the movie mixed horror, adventure, and a bit of romance, making it a unique and unforgettable experience. Julie Adams really shined in this movie as Kay Lawrence. She played a scientist who wasn't just a typical damsel in distress. Kay was smart, strong, and brave, which made her character so cool. Adams' performance made you feel her courage and also her vulnerability, which made the story even more gripping. The chemistry between Adams's character and the creature was a big part of what made the movie work. The creature's fascination with Kay added a lot of tension and made the scary parts even scarier. Adams did an awesome job showing a mix of emotions, from being scared to being determined and even compassionate, which made her character feel real and unforgettable. Behind the scenes making Creature from the Black Lagoon was no walk in the park. The underwater scenes were especially tough to film, needing new tricks and a special suit for the creature. Riku Browning played the creature underwater, while Ben Chapman played it on land. Adams had to learn to swim gracefully and hold her breath for a long time. Despite all the challenges, Adams took her role seriously and made some of the scariest and coolest scenes in horror movie history. One of the coolest things about the movie was the creature's suit itself. It was made of latex and foam rubber, which was uncomfortable and hard to move in for Browning and Chapman. But the suit's design was ahead of its time, letting the creature move realistically underwater and adding to the movie's spooky vibe. Adams often talked about how tough it was to film underwater, with limited visibility and communication. But these challenges made the movie feel more real and suspenseful. Creature from the Black Lagoon became a classic because of its cool story, awesome effects, and Julie Adams' unforgettable performance. It's a movie that still gives you chills today, and shows why Julie Adams was such a great actress in Hollywood's golden age. Her mermaid swimming double. Not a real mermaid, of course, but Ginger Stanley, who did the underwater stunts in Creature from the Black Lagoon, had a unique career. She worked as a mermaid at the famous Weeki Wachee Springs amusement park in Florida. Weeki Wachee is known for its live mermaid shows, where women dressed as mermaids perform underwater tricks and synchronized swimming. Ginger Stanley's time at Weeki Wachee was more than just a job. It showed her amazing swimming and breath-holding skills. Performing as a mermaid meant she had to be very good at moving underwater, which made her perfect for the stunts in Creature from the Black Lagoon. Her experience at Weeki Wachee meant she could spend a long time underwater, which was needed for her role in the film. In Creature from the Black Lagoon, Ginger did all the dangerous underwater scenes. She swam smoothly through the underwater world of the movie, doubling for Julie Adams' character, Kay Lawrence. Her work made the underwater scenes look real and exciting. Even though she played a big part in the film's success, she did not get credited for her work. This was common for stunt performers back then, even though they were important to the movie. Ginger Stanley was also called back for the sequel, Revenge of the Creature, in 1955. She did more underwater stunts for this film too, but just like the first movie, she did not get on-screen credit. This shows how stunt performers, especially in those days, often did not get the recognition they deserved. Her work at Weeki Wachee and on these films shows how skilled and dedicated she was as a stunt double. Weeki Wachee Springs, with its mermaid shows, was a great place for someone like Stanley to train. Her story is a big part of the history of both the amusement park and the classic horror film. Through Ginger Stanley's work, we see the important role of behind-the-scenes heroes who make movies possible. Her story also highlights how many stunt performers, especially women, contributed a lot to films but were often overlooked. While Julie Adams got a lot of praise for her role, it's important to also remember and celebrate Ginger Stanley, the real-life mermaid who helped make the creature come alive. The queen of horror and chills. Julie Adams had an amazing career in Hollywood, especially known for her roles in horror and sci-fi movies. After she became famous in Creature from the Black Lagoon, she kept showing her talent in more films that made her a beloved star in these genres. In 1955, she came back as Kay Lawrence in Revenge of the Creature. This sequel continued the story of the Gill Man, now captured and put in a Florida oceanarium. Even though Adams' role was shorter this time, it helped connect the story from the first movie and kept things going. Revenge of the Creature didn't become as famous as the first one, but it showed Adams was a key part of these creature feature movies. Her acting was still top-notch, showing how well she could play a character going through strange situations. That same year, Adams was in The Private War of Major Benson, a movie mixing comedy and drama. She played Dr. Kay Lambert, a school nurse who falls for Major Benson, played by Charlton Heston. This role let Adams explore different sides of her acting, showing she could be caring, yet strong-willed. Her performance added a lot of feeling to the movie, making it even more enjoyable. As her career went on, Adams took on all sorts of roles that showed her talent. One standout was The Killer Inside Me in 1976, based on a dark novel. Here, Adams played Amy Stanton, the love interest of the main character, Lou Ford, a deputy sheriff with a dark side. The movie dug deep into psychological horror, and Adams's role brought a human touch to the story. Her acting showed both vulnerability and strength, bringing real emotion to the screen. Throughout her career, Adams proved she could handle any spooky role, moving smoothly between horror, sci-fi, and psychological drama. Her ability to make every character feel real and bring out their emotions made her a favorite with audiences. Whether she was facing a prehistoric creature, dealing with romance, or exploring the darkest parts of the mind, Adams always delivered performances that stuck with you. Her dedication and skill made her stand out in Hollywood, leaving a lasting mark on genre movies that fans still love today. Transition to television horror. Throughout the 1950s, 60s, and beyond, Julie Adams appeared in many TV shows that let her explore spooky and supernatural themes, showing off her talent as a versatile actress. One standout was her role in Alfred Hitchcock Presents, a show known for its suspenseful stories. In the 1960 episode The Long Shot, Adams played Anne Gilrain, a woman caught in a web of lies and murder. Her performance was full of tension, fitting perfectly with the show's eerie vibe. Being part of Alfred Hitchcock's series gave Adams a chance to dive into psychological horror, proving she could handle complex, suspenseful tales. Her role in this episode not only showed her skill at creating fear and suspense, but also solidified her as a major player in TV horror. Another big moment was her appearance in The Twilight Zone, a series famous for mind-bending stories. In the 1962 episode, The Trade-Ins, Adams played Mrs. Fowler, part of an elderly couple looking to swap their old bodies for younger ones. The episode dealt with big themes like aging, identity, and the fear of the unknown, letting Adams explore a different kind of horror, one that hits deep. Her acting added heart to the story, making the weird stuff feel real and touching. Adams handled The Twilight Zone's mix of sci-fi and horror perfectly, leaving her mark on the genre. Moving into the 1980s, Adams showed up multiple times on Murder, She Wrote, a mystery series that often added hints of horror and suspense. One standout episode was The Days Dwindle Down, where Adams played Lila Benson. While Murder, She Wrote was about solving crimes, it often went into dark, scary places, and Adams's episodes were no different. Her ability to bring mystery and tension made the show even better for fans of both mystery and horror. Julie Adams proved she could tackle different kinds of horror and suspense on TV, becoming a beloved part of television history. Her roles in these shows were big for her career and for the horror genre overall. Moving from movies to TV let her reach more people and show off her skills in new and exciting ways. Her work on Alfred Hitchcock Presents, The Twilight Zone, and Murder, She Wrote, showed she could handle all kinds of stories and ways of telling them, proving how good an actress she really was. Plus, Adams' TV roles helped change how horror worked on screen. Back then, TV was still figuring out what it could show, and her acting pushed those limits. She made horror about more than just scares. It became about deep fears and what makes us human. Julie Adams was a key part of showing that horror could be serious and make you think, not just jump. Spooky occurrences on set. During the filming of a lesser-known project, Julie Adams and her co-stars found themselves lodged in a remote cabin, chosen for its solitude and rustic charm, which perfectly suited the film's atmosphere. Nestled deep within a dense forest, far removed from city life, the cabin offered a tranquil and picturesque backdrop by day. However, as night descended, the setting took on a more unsettling and eerie aura. One evening, after a long day of shooting, Adams and her colleagues gathered in the cabin to unwind and go over the day's work. Surrounding them, the forest was enveloped in pitch darkness, punctuated only by the occasional whisper of leaves and distant calls of nocturnal creatures. The sense of isolation was tangible, heightening the inherent unease that often accompanies remote locales. As the group settled in for the night, strange noises began to intrude upon the silence. At first, faint and easily dismissed as wildlife or settling wood, the sounds gradually intensified. Clear and deliberate footsteps echoed around the property, seeming to encircle the cabin. Initially, the group tried to rationalize the noises. Perhaps it was an inquisitive animal or a playful crew member. However, as the footsteps persisted and appeared purposeful, it became evident that something more unusual was afoot. Despite mounting apprehension, Adams and a few brave souls decided to investigate. Armed with flashlights, they ventured into the chilly night. The beams of their lights pierced the darkness, illuminating dense undergrowth and casting long, eerie shadows. They meticulously combed the cabin's perimeter, hearts racing with a blend of fear and curiosity. Despite their thorough search, no evidence of a cause could be found. No footprints, no disturbed foliage, and no creatures in sight. The forest remained silent and motionless, as if holding its breath in anticipation. Bewildered and unnerved, the group returned to the cabin. Inside, the footsteps resumed, now closer to the cabin walls, as if someone, or something, was pacing just beyond the windows. The group huddled together, minds racing with thoughts of ghosts, intruders, or otherworldly beings. They double-checked locks on doors and windows, seeking reassurance. Yet sleep eluded them that uneasy night. Her personal life. You know Julie Adams from those classic movies, right? Well, her life off-screen was just as interesting. She first married Leonard B. Stern in 1951. He was a big deal in TV, working on shows like The Honeymooners. Their marriage only lasted a couple of years, but it was a big learning experience for Julie. She got to see firsthand how TV shows were put together, which helped her own acting career. Then in 1954, Julie married Ray Danton, who was a well-known actor and director in Hollywood. You might have seen him in movies like The Rise and Fall of Legs Diamond. Ray also directed a bunch of TV shows. Their marriage lasted almost 30 years, and they were a real team in showbiz. They had 2 sons, Stephen and Mitchell, who both ended up working in movies just like their parents. Stephen Danton worked behind the scenes as an assistant director, helping out on lots of films and TV projects. Mitchell Danton became a film editor, which meant he had to be super detailed and understand how to tell a good story through editing. Julie and Ray's life together wasn't all smooth sailing, though. They had to juggle their careers with raising a family, which can be tough in Hollywood, but they made sure their sons had all the support they needed to follow their dreams in the film industry. The whole family was really involved in making movies, whether it was acting, directing, editing, or helping out behind the scenes. After being together for a long time, Julie and Ray decided to go their separate ways in 1981. It was a big change for Julie personally, but she kept focused on her career and on supporting Stephen and Mitchell as they made their own paths in Hollywood. Even after they split up, Julie and Ray stayed connected through their shared history and their roles as parents. Julie's experiences as a wife and mom gave her a lot of depth that she brought to her roles on screen. She could play complex characters with real emotions because she'd lived through so much herself. Her strength and resilience in her personal life showed up in the strong characters she often played in movies. 60 years of service to Hollywood. Julie Adams had a long and interesting career in television. She made her debut way back in 1949 on a show called Your Showtime. This was an anthology series, which means each episode was a different story. The show adapted famous works of literature for TV. This early role was just the beginning of her long journey in the entertainment industry. Fast forward 6 decades to 2007, and Betty Adams was still acting. She appeared in an episode of CSI NY called Boo. This was a cool role for her, especially near the end of her career. What made it special was how the show used photos of her from decades earlier in the episode. It was like bringing her past and present together on screen. In CSI NY, the story needed some mystery elements, and using old photos of Betty added an extra layer of intrigue. It was a clever way to show how her career had spanned so many years. From her start in the early days of TV to her role in a modern crime drama, Betty Adams had a career that touched many generations of viewers. Her appearance on CSI NY wasn't just a role, it was a tribute to her long and varied career. Seeing her in this role was a reminder of how much she had contributed to television over the years. It was a neat way for her to wrap up her acting journey, showing that she was still connected to her past while being relevant in the present. Her awards and accolades. Julie Adams had an amazing career in both movies and TV, and she earned some really cool awards that showed off how talented she was. In 1999, she won the Golden Boot Award for her outstanding work in Western films. This award is a big deal in Hollywood, especially for actors who've made a big impact in Western movies. Julie starred in classics like Bend of the River and The Lawless Breed, which made people see her as a versatile actress who could play tough, interesting characters effortlessly. Then, in 2000, Julie got honored in her home state of Arkansas by being inducted into the Arkansas Entertainers Hall of Fame. She grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas, so this was a special recognition that made her state proud. It was a way to celebrate her success in entertainment and how she inspired people back home. Julie's achievements in movies were celebrated again at Cinecon in 2011. She received the Film Career Achievement Award there, which is a big convention that loves classic movies and Hollywood stars. This award was all about recognizing her entire career and how she made a lasting impression on audiences and filmmakers. It showed how dedicated she was to bringing unforgettable characters to life on screen. And in 2012, she won the Rondo Award for the Monster Kid Hall of Fame. These awards are all about honoring legends of classic horror, and Julie's role as Kay Lawrence in Creature from the Black Lagoon made her a true icon in the horror world. The Rondo Award was a nod to her influence on the genre and how she inspired fans and creators with her amazing performance. Even as the decades passed, the shadowy allure of Julie Adams' work in the horror genre continued to enchant and frighten new generations of fans. Her legacy as an icon of classic horror remains unchallenged, a spectral reminder of the golden era of monster movies. Julie Adams' career, marked by her memorable roles and enduring impact on the horror genre, remains a testament to her talent and charm. Her performances continue to resonate with audiences, ensuring that her legacy as a queen of classic horror endures. From the eerie depths of the Amazon to the supernatural twists of television, Julie Adams' spooky career is a celebrated chapter in the history of horror cinema.
Never dated him.
Really?
There's just something about me that I guess he didn't like.
Sandra Bullock.
Please welcome Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock!
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock!
She's a beautiful lady. Yeah, very beautiful.
How handsome he was.
I can't believe you both had crushes on each other and you were so scared.
I found the love of my life. I just want to be 24/7 with my babies and my family.
How's life now?
True love is hard to come by, especially in an industry filled with so much drama and breakups, but the few love stories that do survive are celebrated and applauded. Sandra Bullock's love story with who she confessed was the absolute love of her life would make you smile.
Because we didn't.
Yeah, right. That. Is that how you do it?
That's how I do it.
Maybe that's why he didn't want to be with you.
And even shed a tear.
Possible for me not to love you.
But the path she took on her way to him was paved with challenges, struggles, and pain. Before the spotlight. Sandra Bullock was born on July 26, 1964, in Arlington County, Virginia. Her mother, Helga Matilda Meyer, was an opera singer and voice teacher from Germany. Her father, John Wilson Bullock, was an Army employee and part-time voice coach from Birmingham, Alabama.
Were you embarrassed that your parents were German?
Yes, my mother was only German, my dad was not.
He was stationed in Nuremberg, Germany, overseeing the Army's military postal service in Europe when he met Helga. They got married in Germany, and Sandra's maternal grandfather was a German rocket scientist from Nuremberg. The family eventually moved back to Arlington, where her father worked with the Army Materiel Command before becoming a contractor for the Pentagon. Sandra has a younger sister, Gesine Bullock Prado, who later became the president of Sandra's production company, Fortis Films. Sandra spent her early years in Europe, living in Nuremberg, West Germany, as well as in Vienna and Salzburg, Austria. She grew up speaking German and attended a Waldorf school in Nuremberg. While her mother toured Europe for opera performances, Sandra often stayed with her Aunt Crystal and cousin Suzanne, who later married politician Peter Ramsauer. As a child, Sandra studied ballet and vocal arts, and even participated in her mother's opera productions, singing in the opera's children's choir. Sandra has a scar above her left eye from a childhood accident when she fell into a creek. Sandra attended Washington Lee High School in Arlington, where she was a cheerleader and performed in school theater productions. After graduating in 1982, she went to East Carolina University in Greenville, North Carolina. There, she earned a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Drama in 1987 and performed in various theater productions, including Peter Pan and Three Sisters. After college, Sandra moved to Manhattan, New York, where she worked various jobs to support herself while auditioning for roles. She worked as a bartender, cocktail waitress, and coat checker during this time, and it was in this same New York that she took her first steps towards acting. The steps to stardom. While Sandra Bullock was in New York, she took acting classes with the renowned Sanford Meisner. She started appearing in several student films and eventually landed a role in an off-Broadway play called No Time Flat. Her performance caught the eye of director Alan J. Levy, who was so impressed that he offered her a part in the made-for-television film Bionic Showdown: The $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman in 1989. This opportunity opened the door to a series of small roles in independent films, and the lead role in the short-lived NBC television adaptation of Working Girl in 1990. Sandra continued to make her mark in Hollywood with roles in films like Love Potion No 9 Inches, 1992, The Thing Called Love, 1993, and Fire on the Amazon, 1993. Her supporting role in the sci-fi action film Demolition Man, 1993, further showcased her talent. In 1994, she landed the role of Annie Porter in the blockbuster hit Speed, starring alongside Keanu Reeves. To ensure they had the right chemistry, Sandra had to read for the part, and she remembers doing all these really physical scenes together, rolling around on the floor and stuff. The film was a huge success, earning critical acclaim and being described by Rotten Tomatoes as a terrific popcorn thriller, with outstanding performances from Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper, and Sandra Bullock. Speed grossed $350 million worldwide and firmly established Sandra as a Hollywood actress. She won several awards for her performance, including Best Actress at the 21st Saturn Awards and Best Female Performance and Most Desirable Female at the 1995 MTV Movie Awards. Sandra's next big hit was the romantic comedy While You Were Sleeping in 1995, where she played a lonely Chicago Transit Authority token collector who saves a man's life. The film was well received by critics, who praised Sandra's charming performance, saying it gave a good name to the romantic comedy formula. Her role earned her a nomination for the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Motion Picture, Comedy or Musical. Later that year, Sandra starred in the thriller The Net, playing a computer programmer who uncovers a conspiracy that endangers her life and those around her. Owen Gleiberman from Entertainment Weekly praised her performance, noting how her overripe smile and clear, imploring eyes were reminiscent of Julia Roberts. Both While You Were Sleeping and The Net were commercial successes, making $182 million and $110.6 million, respectively. Sandra Bullock, America's Sweetheart. Sandra Bullock has often been called America's sweetheart by the media because of her friendly, direct, and unpretentious nature. She has been recognized for her beauty and charm multiple times, being selected as one of People magazine's 50 most beautiful people in the world in 1996, 1999, and 2011. In 2010, People also named her Woman of the Year, and in 2015 she was crowned the most beautiful woman. Bullock's influence extends beyond her looks. In 2010, Time magazine included her in its annual Time 100 list of the most influential people in the world. Entertainment Weekly dubbed her the most powerful actress in Hollywood the same year. She cemented her place among Hollywood legends by making imprints of her hands and feet at the TCL Chinese Theater on Hollywood Boulevard. That year, The Hollywood Reporter named her one of the most powerful women in entertainment, and Entertainment Weekly honored her as Entertainer of the Year, thanks to her successful films The Heat and Gravity. In 2014, Forbes ranked her #2 on its list of most powerful actresses. Adding to her accolades, Bullock received the Decade of Hotness Award from Spike Guy's Choice Awards, highlighting her enduring appeal and impact in the entertainment industry. The bittersweet taste of love. Sandra Bullock was once engaged to actor Tate Donovan, whom she met while filming Love Potion No. 9. Their relationship lasted for 3 years. Over the years, Sandra dated several notable personalities, including football player Troy Aikman and actors Matthew McConaughey and Ryan Gosling. However, on July 16, 2005, Sandra married motorcycle builder and Monster Garage host Jesse James. They first met when Sandra arranged for her 10-year-old godson to meet James as a Christmas present. In November 2009, Sandra and Jesse found themselves in a custody battle with James's second ex-wife, former adult film actress Janine Lindemulder, over James's young daughter. Sandra and Jesse ultimately won full legal custody of the 5-year-old girl. In March 2010, a scandal erupted when multiple women claimed to have had affairs with Jesse during his marriage to Sandra. In response to these allegations, Sandra canceled her European promotional appearances for The Blind Side, citing unforeseen personal reasons. On March 18, 2010, Jesse issued a public apology, admitting his wrongdoing and expressing his hope that Sandra and their children could eventually forgive him. He stated, "There is only one person to blame for this whole situation, and that is me." By the end of March 2010, Jesse's publicist announced that he had checked into a rehabilitation facility to deal with personal issues and attempt to save his relationship with Sandra. However, on April 23, 2010, Sandra filed for divorce in Austin, Texas, citing conflict of personalities as the reason. Their divorce was finalized on June 28, 2010. In 2010, Sandra revealed that she had proceeded with plans to adopt a son born in January 2010 in New Orleans, Louisiana. She and Jesse had begun the adoption process 4 months earlier, and their son had been living with them since January 2010. However, they kept the news private until after the Oscars that March. Following their split, Sandra continued the adoption as a single parent. In December 2015, she announced that she had adopted a second child, appearing on the cover of People magazine with her 3-year-old daughter. Encounter with stalkers. Starting in 2002, Sandra Bullock faced a frightening situation. A man named Thomas James Weldon began stalking her, traveling across several states to do so. To protect herself, Sandra obtained a restraining order against him in 2003. This order was renewed in 2006, but after it expired, Weldon was released from a mental institution and started searching for Sandra again. Determined to stay safe, Sandra got another restraining order to keep him at bay. Then, on April 22, 2007, a new threat emerged. Marcia Diana Valentine, an obsessed fan of Sandra's, was found lying outside Sandra and Jesse James's home in Orange County, California. When Jesse confronted her, Valentine jumped into her car and tried to run him over. This dangerous encounter led to Valentine being charged with aggravated assault and stalking. Sandra quickly got a restraining order to keep Valentine away from her home, family, and work for 3 years. Although Valentine pleaded not guilty, she was convicted of stalking and sentenced to 3 years probation. In June 2014, another terrifying incident occurred. Joshua James Corbett broke into Sandra's Los Angeles home. Quick-thinking Sandra locked herself in a room and called 911. Corbett was later charged, and in 2017 he pleaded no contest, receiving a 5-year probation sentence for stalking Sandra and breaking into her house. Additionally, a 10-year protective order was issued to keep him away from Sandra. However, the story didn't end there. In May 2018, Corbett missed a court date, prompting police officers to visit his parents' home, where he lived in a guest house, to arrest him. Corbett refused to surrender and threatened to shoot the officers, leading to a 5-hour standoff with a SWAT team. Eventually, they deployed gas canisters and entered the house, only to find that Corbett had taken his own life, suffering from multiple incised wounds, according to the Los Angeles County coroner. These incidents highlight the darker side of fame that Sandra Bullock had to endure, constantly having to protect herself from obsessed fans and stalkers. the man who finally stole her heart. Brian Randall was born in 1966 and grew up in Portland, Oregon. He lived a relatively quiet life before his path crossed with that of Hollywood star Sandra Bullock. Randall's early years were spent in the Pacific Northwest, where he developed an appreciation for the outdoors, which would later influence his photography career. In the 1980s and 1990s, Brian Randall pursued a career in modeling. He was represented by well-known agencies like Ford Models, and his striking looks and charisma helped him land campaigns with high-profile brands. Randall modeled for fashion giants such as Saint Laurent and Harper's Bazaar, gracing the pages of several prominent fashion magazines. His modeling career took him to various parts of the world, exposing him to diverse cultures and experiences, further enriching his perspective. Despite the glamour associated with the modeling world, Randall maintained a down-to-earth personality. Friends and colleagues often described him as charming, easygoing, and deeply introspective. These qualities made him not only a successful model, but also someone who was well-liked and respected by those who knew him. Transitioning from modeling, Brian Randall found his true passion in photography. His experiences in front of the camera gave him unique insights when he stepped behind the lens, majorly focusing on children's portraits and outdoor events. Randall's photography style was known for its naturalistic and emotive qualities. He had a particular talent for capturing candid moments, making his subjects feel at ease, and drawing out their genuine expressions. This ability made him a sought-after photographer for various occasions, from family portraits to professional photo shoots. Randall established Brian Randall Photography, focusing on a range of subjects, including children's portraits, outdoor scenes, and events. His portfolio showcased a keen eye for detail and a deep appreciation for the subtleties of light and composition. His work was marked by a sense of authenticity, reflecting his philosophy that the best photographs are those that capture real, unguarded moments. Before meeting Sandra Bullock, Brian Randall was already a devoted father. He had a daughter from a previous relationship, and he cherished his role as a parent. This aspect of his life grounded him and added another layer to his character, making him a compassionate and nurturing individual. Randall was also known for his love of nature and the environment. His photography often featured outdoor settings, highlighting his appreciation for the natural world. Whether it was a serene landscape or a spontaneous moment of joy in a park, his work conveyed a deep connection to the environment. However, in his personal life, Randall was described as a private person who valued his relationships with family and close friends. He wasn't one to seek the limelight, preferring instead to let his work speak for itself. His modesty and humility endeared him to those around him, and he built a reputation as a reliable and trustworthy individual. The enduring love story. Brian Randall and Sandra Bullock first met under somewhat ordinary yet deeply personal circumstances. In 2015, Bullock was looking for a photographer to cover her son Lewis's birthday party, and a mutual friend recommended Brian Randall. Known for his talent in capturing candid, heartfelt moments, Randall seemed like the perfect choice. This professional encounter soon blossomed into something much deeper and more meaningful. The chemistry between Bullock and Randall was palpable from the start. Bullock, who had been relatively private about her personal life following a very public divorce from Jesse James in 2010, found herself drawn to Randall's down-to-earth nature and his genuine warmth. Randall, on the other hand, was captivated by Bullock's kindness, her devotion to her children, and her grounded approach to life despite her Hollywood fame. As they spent more time together, their connection deepened. Randall's easygoing personality complemented Bullock's more reserved nature, creating a balanced and harmonious relationship. Bullock's children, Lewis and Layla, also took to Randall, and he quickly became a significant figure in their lives. His background as a father and his nurturing disposition made him a natural fit in Bullock's family. Regarding that, Bullock had this to say on the Red Table Talk interview. "He's the example that I would want my children to have. I have a partner who's very Christian, and there are two different ways of looking at things. I don't always agree with him, and he doesn't always agree with me. But he is an example even when I don't agree with him." She also went on to add, "I'm stubborn, but sometimes I need to sit back and listen and go. You're saying it differently, but we mean exactly the same thing. It's hard to co-parent because I just want to do it myself." Their relationship progressed steadily, with the couple often seen together at various events and family outings. They were spotted holding hands, enjoying low-key dinners, and attending school functions for Bullock's children. Despite the public interest in their relationship, they managed to keep most of their private life out of the spotlight. This discretion was something they both valued greatly. One of the key elements that strengthened their bond was their shared values and interests. Both Bullock and Randall had a profound love for their families, a passion for philanthropy, and a deep appreciation for nature. In addition to their personal compatibility, Randall's presence brought a sense of stability and normalcy to Bullock's life. He was supportive of her career, but did not seek the limelight for himself. This balance allowed Bullock to continue her professional endeavors while maintaining a fulfilling personal life. Friends and family often commented on how happy and content Bullock seemed with Randall by her side. Their relationship also weathered some challenges, showcasing their resilience and commitment to each other. Bullock's past experiences with betrayal and heartbreak made her cautious, but Randall's consistent support and understanding helped her heal and trust again. They navigated the complexities of blending their lives and families with grace and patience. In other interviews, Bullock often spoke about Randall with great affection and respect, though she kept the details of their relationship mostly private. She once mentioned that Randall was a person who would drop everything to help a friend, reflecting his selfless nature and strong character. Randall, similarly, was known to be fiercely protective of Bullock and her children, always putting their well-being first. She clearly went on to state that Randall was the love of her life. The news that broke hearts. In 2017, Brian Randall was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, and it marked a profoundly challenging chapter in his life and the life of those who loved him, especially Sandra Bullock. ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, is a progressive neurodegenerative condition that affects nerve cells in the brain and the spinal cord, leading to the gradual loss of muscle control. The early signs of Randall's illness were subtle and easily mistaken for normal aging or fatigue. Minor muscle twitches, slight weakness in his limbs, and occasional difficulties with fine motor skills began to surface. Initially, these symptoms were brushed off as inconsequential. However, as they persisted and gradually worsened, Randall and Bullock sought medical advice. The diagnosis came after a series of tests and consultations with specialists. It was a devastating blow. ALS is a particularly cruel disease, as it systematically robs the individual of their ability to move, speak, eat, and eventually breathe, all while leaving cognitive functions largely intact. For a man as active and physically capable as Randall, the news was particularly hard to accept. Upon receiving the diagnosis, Randall and Bullock were confronted with the stark reality of the disease. The prognosis for ALS patients varies, but the average life expectancy is typically between 2 to 5 years from the onset of symptoms. The progressive nature of the disease meant that Randall would gradually lose his ability to perform even the simplest tasks. Bullock, known for her strength and resilience, immediately took on the role of caregiver. She committed herself to being by Randall's side, providing not only physical care but also emotional support. Bullock's love and dedication became even more evident during this period, as she balanced her professional obligations with the demanding responsibilities of caring for a loved one with a terminal illness. The couple sought the best possible care and treatment options. They consulted with leading neurologists and specialists in ALS, exploring both conventional and experimental therapies. While there is no cure for ALS, various treatments can help manage symptoms and potentially slow the progression of the disease. Randall underwent physical therapy to maintain muscle strength for as long as possible, and various medications were prescribed to manage symptoms such as muscle cramps, spasticity, and difficulty swallowing. As Randall's condition progressed, their home life had to adapt to meet his increasing needs. Modifications were made to ensure accessibility and comfort. Bullock enlisted the help of medical professionals, including nurses and aides, to assist with Randall's daily care. The focus was on maintaining Randall's quality of life and ensuring he remained as comfortable and engaged as possible. As Randall's condition deteriorated, the emotional toll on Bullock was immense. She faced the heart-wrenching reality of watching a loved one suffer while knowing there was no cure. When you see some of the legendary movies of old Hollywood, it's easy to get caught up in the brilliant performances of the actors. But if you knew what went on behind the scenes and all of the trouble it took to make those great scenes perfect, then the brilliance of some of these film directors will be more applauded.
But also in the way he was treated as a woman on the set, which, finally made him a bit of a victim on the set, and he began to fight back as though for women's rights.
Sometimes actors almost ruin an entire movie, but some directors swoop in to save the day. Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz, 1939. The Wizard of Oz is one of the most beloved films in the history of cinema, a magical journey that has delighted audiences for generations. The film's central character, Dorothy, played by Judy Garland, is unforgettable with her wide-eyed innocence, and heartfelt rendition on the screen was anything but easy for Garland and the production team. Judy Garland was just 16 years old when she was cast as Dorothy, and she was already feeling the immense pressures of Hollywood. The studio executives were demanding, often expecting long hours and perfect performances. To keep up with these demands, Garland was given a mix of stimulants to keep her energy levels high during the day and then given sedatives at night to help her sleep. This harsh regimen took a toll on her physically and emotionally, making the filming process incredibly challenging. The production of The Wizard of Oz itself was chaotic. The film went through multiple directors before Victor Fleming took over. Fleming was known for his ability to handle big productions and demanding situations, but he faced a significant challenge with Garland's fragile state and the overall tumultuous environment on set. Fleming recognized Garland's immense talent and understood that she needed more than just direction.
I had the measles once, and she stayed right by me every minute.
She needed support and understanding. He worked closely with her, reportedly providing a steady presence and helping to create a safe space where she could perform. Fleming's approach was both firm and compassionate. He knew when to push Garland to bring out her best and when to give her the reassurance she needed.
I remember The Wizard of Oz was so much joy, and it's such a happy picture. Was it happy for you to make it?
I enjoyed it very much, and I enjoy it today. I think you and I looked at it last time.
There were reports of him going overboard. One time he slapped Judy when she couldn't stop laughing, and he reportedly felt so bad about it, he asked the crew to punch him hard in the face. One of the ways Fleming reportedly brought out the best in Garland was by helping her focus on the emotional core of Dorothy's character. Despite the studio's harsh treatment, Garland reportedly found solace in the simplicity and sincerity of Dorothy. Fleming encouraged her to channel her own emotions and experiences into the role, making Dorothy's journey feel genuine and heartfelt. A perfect example of this is Garland's performance of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, most iconic moments in the film and in Garland's career. Fleming worked with Garland to ensure that her performance was filled with longing and hope, capturing the essence of a young girl dreaming of a better place. The result was a powerful and touching rendition that continues to resonate with audiences today. Fleming's direction also extended to the technical aspects of the film. He reportedly used creative cinematography and special effects to enhance Garland's performance, making the magical world of Oz come to life around her. The vibrant colors, imaginative sets, and memorable characters all supported Garland's portrayal of Dorothy, allowing her to shine even brighter.
That's funny. Wasn't he pointing the other way?
Of course, people do go both ways.
Despite the challenges, Garland's performance in The Wizard of Oz is nothing short of legendary. Fleming's ability to manage the pressures of the production and provide Garland with the guidance and support she needed was crucial in making this possible. He saw beyond the difficulties and recognized the potential for greatness in Garland, helping her deliver a performance that would define her career. The Wizard of Oz went on to become a timeless classic, and Garland's portrayal of Dorothy remains one of the most cherished in film history. The film's success is a testament to Fleming's skill as a director and his dedication to bringing out the best in his actors, even under the most challenging circumstances. James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause, 1955. This is one of those films that perfectly captures the passion rebellion of youths in the 1950s. Directed by Nicholas Ray, this movie became an iconic symbol of teenage disillusionment and the struggles of the post-war generation. At the heart of this film is James Dean, who delivered a performance that would cement his status as a cultural icon. However, bringing this performance to the screen was no easy feat, largely due to Dean's intense and unpredictable behavior. James Dean was known for his method acting, a style that involves deeply immersing oneself in the character and often bringing real emotions and experiences into the performance.
Somebody ought to put poison in her Epsom salts.
Grandma?
Oh, get lost.
While this approach can lead to incredibly authentic and powerful acting, it can also make the actor difficult to work with. Dean's commitment to his roles was absolute, but it also meant that he could be unpredictable and hard to manage on set. During the filming of Rebel Without a Cause, Dean's behavior often caused disruptions. He would sometimes arrive late, struggle with following the script, and bring a level of emotional intensity that could be hard for the other actors and the crew to handle. This unpredictability made it challenging to maintain a smooth production schedule and created a tense atmosphere on set. Despite these difficulties, Nicholas Ray recognized the raw talent and potential that Dean brought to the role of Jim Stark, the troubled teenager at the center of the story. Instead of trying to force Dean into a conventional acting mold, Ray chose to work with him closely, understanding that Dean's unique approach could bring something extraordinary to the film. Ray allowed Dean the freedom to explore his character deeply, giving him the space to improvise and bring his own emotions into his performance. This collaborative approach was not without its challenges, but it ultimately paid off. By trusting Dean and embracing his method acting, Ray was able to capture moments of genuine emotion and vulnerability that became the core of Jim Stark's character. One of the most memorable scenes in Rebel Without a Cause is the iconic "You're tearing me apart" moment, where Jim confronts his parents in a raw and emotional outburst.
You're tearing me apart!
What?
You say one thing, he says another, and everybody changes back again!
This scene exemplifies Dean's ability to convey deep-seated frustration and pain, resonating with the audience on a profound level. Ray's decision to give Dean the creative freedom to express himself fully resulted in a performance that was both groundbreaking and deeply moving. The success of Rebel Without a Cause can be attributed in large part to the dynamic between Dean and Ray. The director's willingness to adapt and work with Dean's unique style transformed what could have been a chaotic production into a cinematic masterpiece. Dean's portrayal of Jim Stark captured the spirit of a generation, making him a symbol of teenage rebellion and earning him a place in Hollywood history. Rex Harrington in My Fair Lady, 1964. Directed by George Cukor, My Fair Lady is a timeless musical adaptation of George Bernard Shaw's play, Pygmalion. The film tells the story of Eliza Doolittle, a Cockney flower girl, and her transformation into a refined lady under the tutelage of the arrogant phonetics professor, Henry Higgins, played by Rex Harrison. The role required Harrison to perform several musical numbers, a task that posed a significant challenge for the accomplished actor. Rex Harrison was widely respected for his dramatic and comedic talents, but he was not a trained singer. The transition from acting to singing in a major musical film was daunting for him, and he felt uncomfortable with the traditional singing style expected in musicals. This discomfort could have potentially hindered his performance and affected the overall quality of the film. George Cukor, a seasoned director known for his ability to bring out the best in his actors, recognized Harrison's strengths and limitations. Rather than forcing Harrison into a conventional singing role, Cukor devised a creative solution that would play to Harrison's strengths and maintain the integrity of the character. He encouraged Harrison to adopt a speak-sing style for his musical numbers. This approach involved speaking the lyrics rhythmically, with a melodic intonation, rather than attempting to sing them in a traditional manner. Cukor's decision to allow Harrison to speak-sing his songs had several benefits. Firstly, it alleviated Harrison's discomfort and allowed him to focus on delivering a confident and charismatic performance. By embracing a style that felt more natural to him, Harrison could fully inhabit the character of Professor Henry Higgins without the added stress of trying to sing in a way that did not suit him. Secondly, the speak-sing technique added a unique and memorable element to the film. Professor Higgins is a character known for his wit, intellect, and somewhat brusque manner. The speak-sing style complemented these traits, making the musical numbers feel like an extension of Higgins's dialogue rather than a departure from his character. This seamless integration of speech and song enhanced the character's authenticity and added to the film's charm. One of the most iconic songs in My Fair Lady is I've Grown Accustomed to Her Face. In this number, Professor Higgins reflects on his feelings for Eliza and the impact she has had on his life. Harrison's speak-sing delivery of the song allows the audience to focus on the emotions and thoughts conveyed through the lyrics. His performance captures the complexity of Higgins's character, his vulnerability, pride, and gradual realization of his attachment to Eliza. The speak-sing style makes the song feel like an intimate monologue, deepening the audience's connection to Higgins' internal struggle. Another notable example is Why Can't the English? This song, which introduces Professor Higgins, showcases his disdain for improper speech and his passion for phonetics.
Why can't the English teach their children how to speak? This verbal class distinction, by now, should be antique. If you spoke as she does, sir, instead of the way you do, why, you might be selling flowers too.
Harrison's speak-sing approach highlights the character's sharp intellect and biting humor. The rhythmic delivery of the lyrics emphasizes Higgins's precise and analytical nature, making the song both entertaining and character-defining. Cukor's supportive and adaptive direction extended beyond just the musical numbers. He fostered a collaborative and positive atmosphere on set, ensuring that Harrison felt confident and comfortable in his role. This supportive environment allowed Harrison to explore and develop his character fully, resulting in a performance that was both dynamic and nuanced. My Fair Lady was a critical and commercial success, winning 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Actor for Rex Harrison. Harrison's portrayal of Professor Henry Higgins remains one of his most celebrated performances, thanks in large part to George Cukor's insightful direction and innovative approach to handling the musical challenges. Bruce in Jaws, 1975. Jaws, directed by the young and ambitious Steven Spielberg, is one of those classic movies that has stood the test of time. Released in 1975, it tells the gripping story of a monstrous great white shark terrorizing the small, idyllic town of Amity Island. The film's success helped to create the concept of the summer blockbuster and forever changed the landscape of Hollywood. However, what many people might not know is that behind the scenes, Jaws was plagued by a series of problems that nearly sank the production before it could reach the big screen. One of the biggest challenges Spielberg faced was with the film's main antagonist, the mechanical shark affectionately named Bruce. Bruce was supposed to be a state-of-the-art creation, a fearsome predator that would strike terror into the hearts of audiences. Instead, Bruce turned out to be a temperamental and unreliable piece of machinery. From the very beginning, Bruce was a headache for the crew. The shark malfunctioned constantly, breaking down in the water and requiring frequent repairs. At times, it simply refused to work at all, leaving Spielberg and his team scrambling to find solutions on the spot. These technical issues caused significant delays and pushed the film over budget. The original plan was to feature the shark prominently, showing it in all its terrifying glory. But with Bruce proving to be more trouble than he was worth, Spielberg had to think quickly and adapt. Instead of focusing on what wasn't working, Spielberg decided to turn a disadvantage into an advantage by using the shark sparingly. This decision, born out of necessity, ended up being one of the most brilliant moves in cinematic history. Spielberg chose to rely on suspense and the power of suggestion to convey the presence of the shark. Rather than showing Bruce frequently, he used clever camera work, ominous music, and the reactions of the characters to create a sense of impending danger. One of the most iconic elements of Jaws is its music, composed by John Williams. The simple yet incredibly effective two-note motif became synonymous with the lurking threat of the shark. The music would slowly build, creating a sense of dread long before the shark was ever seen. This approach heightened the tension and made the moments when the shark did appear all the more terrifying. By showing less of the shark, Spielberg allowed the audience's imagination to fill in the gaps. The fear of the unknown and the unseen is often more powerful than anything that can be shown on screen. Spielberg understood this and used it to his advantage. The sparse appearances of the shark made its presence more impactful, And the few scenes where Bruce did show up were crafted with meticulous care to maximize their fright factor. One of the most famous scenes in Jaws is the opening sequence, where a young woman is attacked by the shark while swimming at night. The scene is terrifying not because we see the shark, but because we don't. The camera stays mostly underwater from the shark's point of view as the woman is dragged around in a panic. Her screams, the thrashing water, and the eerie music combine to create a moment of pure terror. This set the tone for the rest of the film, establishing that the shark could strike at any time, from anywhere, without warning. Spielberg's decision to use the shark sparingly also allowed him to focus more on the human characters and their reactions to the shark threat. This added depth to the story and made the characters more relatable and engaging. The film follows Police Chief Brody, oceanographer Matt Hooper, and the grizzled shark hunter Quint as they team up to hunt down the great white. Their interactions, fears, and determination to protect the town become the heart of the story, making the audience care about their fate as much as they fear the shark. In the end, what could have been a major setback with Bruce became a defining element of Jaws. Spielberg's innovative use of suspense and suggestion turned the film into a masterclass in building tension and fear. Jaws went on to become a massive hit, captivating audiences and critics alike. It won 3 Academy Awards and cemented Spielberg's reputation as a visionary director. Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now, 1979. Apocalypse Now is one of those movies that's famous for the chaos and challenges that happen behind the scenes almost as much as it is for what ended up on the screen. Directed by Francis Ford Coppola, this film is a gripping tale set during the Vietnam War, known for its intense and surreal storytelling. But making this movie was far from smooth sailing, especially when it came to working with Marlon Brando, one of the main stars. Marlon Brando, a legendary actor, was cast to play Colonel Kurtz, a mysterious and rogue officer hiding deep in the jungle. Brando was known for his incredible talent, but by the time he arrived on the set of Apocalypse Now, things were far from ideal. Brando showed up overweight and unprepared, which was a big problem because his character was supposed to be this menacing, almost otherworldly figure. Not only was Brando's physical appearance a surprise, but he also hadn't bothered to learn his lines or understand his character fully. This threw a wrench into the production plans, leaving Coppola in a tough spot. Francis Ford Coppola had to think on his feet to salvage Brando's scenes. Instead of focusing on what wasn't working, Coppola decided to get creative with how he filmed Brando. One of the key techniques he used was shooting Brando mostly in shadows. By keeping much of Brando's body hidden in darkness, Coppola managed to conceal his weight and instead create an aura of mystery around Colonel Kurtz. This choice turned what could have been a disaster into a brilliant artistic decision. The shadows made Kurtz seem more enigmatic and intimidating, adding to the eerie atmosphere of the movie. Coppola also used close-up shots of Brando's face. These close-ups captured the intensity of Brando's performance without revealing his full physical appearance. By focusing on Brando's expressive face, Coppola was able to convey the deep, haunting presence of Kurtz. These close-ups became some of the most memorable moments in the film, showcasing Brando's incredible ability to convey emotion and menace through subtle facial expressions. In the end, Coppola's quick thinking and innovative filming techniques turned a potentially disastrous situation into one of the film's strengths. The shadows and close-ups didn't just hide Brando's physical condition, they added depth to Colonel Kurtz's character. Kurtz became a figure shrouded in mystery. His presence felt more through his words and the fear he instilled than through his physical form. Although this approach was rumored to have been suggested by Brando himself, it would never have been successful if not for Coppola's brilliant touch and execution of the shots. Apocalypse Now went on to become a classic, remembered for its powerful storytelling and unique cinematography. Dustin Hoffman in Tootsie, 1982. Tootsie is a comedy drama that brilliantly explores themes of gender and identity, featuring Dustin Hoffman as Michael Dorsey, a talented but struggling actor who resorts to disguising himself as a woman to secure a job on a soap opera. This role was particularly challenging for Hoffman, who had to convincingly portray both Michael Dorsey and his female alter ego, Dorothy Michaels. The complexities of embodying a character who is himself pretending to be someone else led to significant difficulties and tensions on set. When Dustin Hoffman took on the role of Michael Dorothy, he faced the daunting task of not only mastering the nuances of a female persona, but also dealing with the inherent gender dynamics and social implications of the character. Hoffman, known for his method acting and intense preparation, initially struggled with embracing the role fully. He found it challenging to understand and convincingly portray a woman, which led to clashes with director Sidney Pollack. Sidney Pollack, an accomplished director and actor, recognized the potential in Hoffman's performance despite the initial difficulties. Pollack understood that the key to a successful portrayal lay in guiding Hoffman to deeply connect with the character's emotional and psychological dimensions. Rather than imposing rigid directives, Pollack adopted a patient and collaborative approach, working closely with Hoffman to address his concerns and help him navigate the complexities of the role. One of the primary issues Hoffman faced was the physical transformation required to become Dorothy Michaels. This transformation was not merely about donning makeup and costumes. It involved adopting mannerisms, speech patterns, and an entirely different perspective on the world. Pollack encouraged Hoffman to spend time observing and interacting with women to gain a better understanding of their experiences and behaviors. This immersion helped Hoffman develop a more authentic and nuanced portrayal. Pollack also facilitated open discussions about the character and the broader themes of the film. These discussions allowed Hoffman to explore and internalize the motivations and challenges faced by Michael Dorothy. By delving into the character's psyche, Hoffman was able to bring depth and authenticity to his performance, transcending the mere physical disguise. Let's face it, the enmity between celebrities and paparazzi is as old as entertainment itself.
What are you doing? Hey, don't do that. Don't do that again.
And from outside the world of Hollywood, these paparazzi invasions could be seen as bothersome. But how exactly do these celebrity invasions work?
No, tell me, was it wrong for you to ask me about my wife some dumbass disrespectful like that?
Why do they topple over each other for that perfect shot? Now let's examine the hidden truth behind how celebrities themselves enable and sometimes encourage their own privacy invasion. Behind the lens. Imagine waking up from the crack of dawn, your phone already buzzing with tips and rumors. The life of a paparazzo is anything but easy. It's a relentless pursuit that begins early and often ends late into the night. So let's call our paparazzo Jake. He's a seasoned pro who has been in the business for over a decade. His day starts at 5 a.m. He quickly scans his emails and text messages, looking for the latest tips on where celebrities might be spotted. Maybe someone saw Jennifer Aniston grabbing coffee at her favorite cafe, or perhaps there's a rumor that Brad Pitt is in town for a secret project. By 6 a.m., Jake is out the door, armed with his camera and a list of potential hotspots. He heads to the cafe where Jennifer Aniston was supposedly seen. He parks discreetly, trying to blend in with the morning crowd. Hours can pass without a single sighting, but the waiting game is part of the job. Patience is crucial. Jake knows that a single photo can be worth thousands of dollars, so he remains vigilant, ready to snap the perfect shot at a moment's notice. Around midday, he gets a tip that a major celebrity event is happening downtown. He races to the location, navigating through traffic and crowds. At the event, Jake jostles for position among other paparazzi, each vying for the best angle. It's chaotic and competitive, with photographers shouting over each other and cameras clicking incessantly. Amidst the frenzy, Jake captures a candid moment of a celebrity looking relaxed and happy, an image that tabloids and fans will love. By evening, Jake heads to a popular restaurant known for its celebrity clientele. He stations himself outside, hoping to catch a glimpse of the stars as they arrive or leave. It's a high-risk, high-reward situation. The lighting is poor, the crowds are thick, and security is tight. Yet, Jake manages to snap a few photos of a couple of A-listers, their faces illuminated by the restaurant's soft glow. His day doesn't end until late at night when he finally returns home, exhausted but satisfied. He uploads his photos, selects the best ones, and sends them off to various media outlets. Some will be published within hours, while others might be saved for a later date. Jake's work is never truly done, as he constantly monitors his phone for new tips and opportunities, ready to do it all over again the next day. Chasing the big shot. The drive behind the paparazzi profession lies not just in the thrill of the chase, but in the potential for significant financial rewards. A single photo can be worth thousands, sometimes even millions of dollars, making the pursuit of that one perfect shot a high-stakes game. Consider the case of Kevin Mazur, a renowned paparazzo who captured one of the most iconic images in Hollywood history, Madonna kissing Britney Spears at the 2003 MTV Video Music Awards. The photo was everywhere, appearing on magazine covers, newspapers, and online platforms worldwide. This single image, with its shocking and sensational nature, was reportedly worth up to $150,000. It wasn't just a picture, it was a cultural moment, and Mazur's quick reflexes and prime positioning paid off immensely. But not all paparazzi get such monumental shots. Most of the time, the daily grind involves snapping candid moments of celebrities doing mundane activities. A shot of Jennifer Aniston sipping coffee might fetch a few $100s, while a more scandalous or exclusive image could be worth thousands. The stakes are high because the financial rewards can be life-changing. Let's dive deeper into the economics behind these lucrative shots. Celebrities like Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, during their highly publicized relationship, were prime targets. In 2006, the first photos of their newborn daughter, Shiloh, were sold for a staggering $4.1 million to People magazine. These images weren't taken by typical paparazzi, but highlight the immense value placed on exclusive celebrity photos. The well-oiled machine. The paparazzi industry is a well-oiled machine driven by a constant demand for celebrity news and images. Media outlets and consumers play crucial roles in sustaining this ecosystem, each feeding the other in a cycle that keeps paparazzi in business. Media outlets are the primary buyers of paparazzi photos. Magazines, newspapers, websites, and TV shows all vie for the most compelling images to boost their readership and viewership. The more exclusive or sensational the photo, the higher the price they are willing to pay. Tabloids like National Enquirer, TMZ, and Daily Mail are notorious for paying top dollar for scandalous or intimate celebrity photos, often creating bidding wars that drive up the price. For instance, in the 2000s, Lindsay Lohan's tumultuous life was a goldmine for tabloids. Photos of her partying, getting into altercations, or even mundane shots of her shopping were in high demand. Each image fed the public's fascination with her, and tabloids were willing to pay substantial amounts to keep their readers engaged. A photo of Lohan stumbling out of a nightclub could sell for $15,000, while a more exclusive shot could go for much more. The consumers, ordinary people fascinated by celebrity culture, are the ultimate end of this chain. Their insatiable appetite for celebrity news drives the demand that media outlets strive to meet. When readers flock to a magazine cover featuring a scandalous celebrity photo, or when they click on a headline about a star's private life, they indirectly support the paparazzi industry. The more readers and viewers engage with this content, the more media outlets are willing to pay for new and exclusive photos. Consider the era of Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie in the early 2000s. Their reality show, The Simple Life, catapulted them to fame, and their every move became a source of public fascination. Paparazzi followed them relentlessly, capturing their glamorous and not-so-glamorous moments. The public's obsession with their lives kept tabloids and gossip websites flush with content, perpetuating the cycle of supply and demand. Even today, the Kardashian-Jenner family exemplifies this dynamic. Their reality TV empire and social media presence keep them perpetually in the public eye. Every photo of Kim Kardashian stepping out in a new outfit or Kylie Jenner showcasing her latest cosmetic line feeds the public's fascination. Paparazzi capitalize on this by capturing these moments, knowing that media outlets will pay top dollar to feature them, and consumers will eagerly lap it up. The moral dilemma. Fame is a double-edged sword. On one side, it brings adoration, wealth, and unparalleled opportunities. On the other, it strips away the veil of privacy, exposing celebrities to relentless scrutiny. This tension between public fascination and personal privacy is at the heart of the ethical debate surrounding paparazzi. Imagine Audrey Hepburn, a beloved icon of old Hollywood. Her grace and beauty captivated millions, yet she was intensely private. Hepburn's life off-screen was meant to be her sanctuary, a place where she could be herself away from the limelight. However, the public's insatiable curiosity often breached this sanctuary. Fans and media alike wanted to know everything about her, the details of her romances, the challenges she faced, even her moments of vulnerability. One striking example of this ethical quandary is the tragic case of Princess Diana. As the people's princess, Diana was adored worldwide. Her every move was followed by a media frenzy, with paparazzi desperate to capture her most candid moments. Diana herself acknowledged the invasive nature of this attention, famously stating, "The media is unbelievably powerful. They can make the unloved loved and the loved unloved." The constant pursuit by paparazzi created a suffocating atmosphere, leaving Diana with little room to breathe. The public's right to know clashed violently with her right to privacy. This tension reached a devastating climax on August 31, 1997, when Diana's car, pursued by paparazzi, crashed in a Paris tunnel, leading to her untimely death. The tragedy highlighted the dire consequences of crossing the line between public interest and personal privacy. Paparazzi invasion, the hidden truth. Contrary to popular belief, the relationship between celebrities and paparazzi isn't always adversarial. Behind the scenes, a surprising amount of collaboration happens, with celebrities and photographers engaging in a symbiotic relationship that benefits both parties. This collusion is often orchestrated to ensure that celebrities remain in the public eye, a vital aspect of maintaining and boosting their careers. Take the case of Kim Kardashian, one of the most photographed women in the world. It's widely known that Kardashian and her family often tip off paparazzi about their whereabouts. These orchestrated encounters guarantee that flattering images of her are circulated in the media, keeping her brand vibrant and relevant. By controlling when and how she is photographed, Kardashian can ensure that the public sees her at her best, maintaining her image and influence. Another example is Paris Hilton. In the early 2000s, Hilton was a master at leveraging paparazzi to her advantage. She often tipped off photographers about her plans, ensuring they captured her in her glamorous party girl persona. This not only kept her in the headlines, but also fueled her brand as a socialite and trendsetter. Hilton's collaboration with paparazzi was a calculated move to maintain her public image and stay relevant in a highly competitive entertainment industry. The cooperation between celebrities and paparazzi can also be seen in the rise of candids that look too perfect to be accidental. These staged moments are carefully curated to appear spontaneous, providing the public with seemingly intimate glimpses into the celebrities' lives. For instance, when a star is seen casually shopping, enjoying a day at the beach, or taking a stroll in the park, there's a good chance the moment was prearranged. Publicity stunts and paparazzi. Publicity stunts are another facet of the intricate dance between celebrities and paparazzi, where the lines between genuine invasion of privacy and deliberate collaboration become increasingly blurred. These orchestrated photo opportunities are designed to generate buzz, steer public opinion, or even distract from negative press. One of the most notable examples of this is the infamous 2004 wardrobe malfunction at the Super Bowl halftime show featuring Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake. While not a paparazzi event per se, it exemplifies how orchestrated moments can captivate public attention. The incident, which revealed Jackson's breast for a fraction of a second, was allegedly premeditated to create a sensational headline. The media frenzy that followed overshadowed other news, showcasing how a calculated move could dominate the public discourse. A more direct example involving paparazzi is the relationship between Britney Spears and her then-manager, Sam Lutfi. During Spears' highly publicized personal struggles in the mid-2000s, Lutfi was known to arrange for paparazzi to capture certain moments. These orchestrated photo ops were designed to generate sympathetic or sensational headlines, depending on the need at the time. Similarly, in the case of Spencer Pratt and Heidi Montag from The Hills, their entire relationship with the media was built on orchestrated publicity stunts. They would frequently tip off paparazzi to capture them in dramatic or romantic scenarios, ensuring constant media attention. Whether it was a staged argument or a romantic beach walk, every moment was designed to keep them in the headlines and sustain their reality TV careers. Celebrities also use orchestrated photo opportunities to shift public perception or promote new ventures. For instance, when a celebrity couple is rumored to be on the rocks, they might stage a public outing to quash the rumors and show unity. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, often photographed during their rekindled romance, have been known to stage outings that portray their relationship in a positive light. These moments not only maintain their relevance, but also generate positive media coverage, reinforcing their desired public image. Another tactic is using paparazzi to promote new projects. When a celebrity is about to release a new movie, album, or book, they might stage a photo op that subtly hints at the upcoming release. For example, Taylor Swift is known for leaving Easter eggs for her fans. She might wear a specific piece of clothing or carry an item that hints at her next album, knowing full well that the paparazzi will capture and disseminate these clues, fueling fan speculation and media coverage. Even scandals can be orchestrated for publicity. Consider the case of reality TV star Kim Kardashian's 72-day marriage to Kris Humphries. Many speculated that the highly publicized wedding and subsequent divorce were a publicity stunt designed to boost ratings for her show and keep her in the spotlight. The constant media coverage kept her name in headlines, demonstrating how even negative press can be beneficial if it keeps the public talking. These orchestrated moments, while beneficial for celebrities, also raise ethical questions. They blur the line between genuine news and manufactured events, challenging the authenticity of the celebrity narratives that the public consumes. The flip side of the coin, the life of a paparazzo is not just about snapping the perfect shot. It also involves maneuvering through a complex web of legal boundaries. These photographers must operate within the confines of laws designed to protect privacy and prevent harassment, making their job a delicate balancing act between capturing candid moments and respecting legal limitations. In the United States, the First Amendment protects freedom of the press, which includes the right to photograph public figures in public spaces. This means that if a celebrity is walking down a public street or dining in an open-air restaurant, paparazzi have the right to take photos without the need for permission. However, this freedom is not absolute and comes with significant restrictions. For instance, California, home to many celebrities, has specific laws targeting paparazzi behavior. The California Privacy Law, often referred to as the Anti-Paparazzi Law, was enacted in response to increasingly aggressive tactics used by photographers. This law makes it illegal for paparazzi to trespass on private property to capture images or recordings. It also prohibits the use of devices such as telephoto lenses or drones to invade the privacy of individuals in their homes or other private spaces. Violations can lead to hefty fines and even jail time. Moreover, California's Senate Bill 606, known as the Anti-Harassment Law, enhances penalties for paparazzi who follow, lie in wait, or chase celebrities and their families. This law was partly inspired by incidents involving celebrities like Jennifer Garner and Halle Berry, who testified about the distress caused by relentless photographers targeting their children. The law aims to protect the safety and well-being of minors by deterring overly aggressive behavior from photographers. In other states and countries, privacy laws also play a crucial role. In the United Kingdom, for example, the Human Rights Act provides individuals with the right to respect for their private and family life. This has been interpreted to limit the extent to which paparazzi can intrude into the personal lives of celebrities, particularly when they are not in public spaces. The legal landscape also includes laws against harassment. Repeatedly following or stalking a celebrity can constitute harassment, which is illegal. Celebrities have increasingly sought restraining orders against particularly aggressive paparazzi, and courts have not hesitated to issue such orders to prevent further harassment. The tensions between celebrities and paparazzi often spill over into the courtroom, where high-profile legal battles have shaped the industry and set precedents for future conduct. These cases highlight the ongoing struggle to balance the right to free press with the right to privacy. One landmark case involved Princess Diana, whose tragic death in 1997 brought global attention to the dangers of paparazzi pursuit. Diana and her companion Dodi Fayed were being chased by paparazzi when their car crashed in a Paris tunnel, killing both of them and their driver. The incident led to intense scrutiny and criticism of paparazzi tactics, prompting legislative changes in France and beyond to impose stricter regulations on photographers. Another significant case was that of Britney Spears, whose turbulent personal life made her a prime target for paparazzi in the mid-2000s. Spears' struggles, including her infamous head-shaving incident and subsequent breakdown, were relentlessly documented by photographers. The constant harassment led to several physical altercations between Spears and paparazzi, resulting in lawsuits and restraining orders. These events underscored the need for better protections for individuals facing relentless media scrutiny. Jennifer Aniston, a perennial paparazzi target, also fought back through the legal system. In 2005, she sued a paparazzo who had used a telephoto lens to take topless photos of her in her backyard. Aniston won the case, and the photographer was ordered to pay damages and destroy the photos. This case highlighted the invasiveness of certain paparazzi tactics and reinforced the need for privacy, even for public figures. One of the more recent legal battles involved the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The couple sued a photo agency for taking unauthorized photos of their son, Archie, at their home. They won the case, and the agency agreed to cease distributing the images and return the originals. This case set a significant precedent for protecting the privacy of public figures and their families, especially children. The impact of these high-profile cases on the paparazzi industry has been profound. They have led to stricter regulations and heightened awareness of privacy rights, pushing paparazzi to adopt more ethical practices. Paparazzi, the human side. To truly understand the world of paparazzi, it's essential to look beyond the headlines and delve into the personal stories of the photographers themselves. These individuals are often portrayed as heartless intruders, but many of them have complex motivations and face significant struggles in their line of work. Take Ron Galella, one of the most infamous paparazzi in history, known for his relentless pursuit of Jackie Kennedy Onassis. Despite his reputation for being aggressive, Galella has spoken about his deep passion for photography and his desire to capture candid moments that tell a story. His iconic photos of celebrities, including the famous windswept shot of Jackie O, reflect his belief in the artistic value of unguarded moments. Galella's work, while controversial, underscores a dedication to his craft that goes beyond mere intrusion. Another well-known paparazzo, Giles Harrison, shares a more nuanced view of the profession. Harrison began his career with a genuine fascination for celebrities and a love for photography. He has recounted stories of friendly interactions with stars like Leonardo DiCaprio and Cameron Diaz, who understood that his work was part of the Hollywood ecosystem. Harrison's experiences highlight the dual nature of the job, the thrill of capturing a perfect shot and the ethical dilemmas that come with it. For many paparazzi, the profession is a means of making a living in an increasingly competitive industry. Laura Magruder, a former paparazzo, entered the field out of necessity. As a single mother, she found the job offered flexible hours and the potential for substantial income. Magruder has spoken about the challenges she faced, including the physical dangers of chasing celebrities and the moral conflicts of invading their privacy. Her story sheds light on the economic realities that drive many photographers to pursue this demanding career,